Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to race number 7 of Season 2 of the Clutch Drop Cup Series, as we're here tonight under the lights for some good old short track racing. These drivers had an off week for Easter last week, given a little bit of extra time to figure out how they're going to approach this paperclip short track known as Martinsville. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Scott Rankin, and Scott here tonight, 325 laps for these drivers. They're going to have pristine looking race cars to start this race. The question is, what are they going to look like at the end?
For the drivers briefing, I was having a chat to them. Look, we work on multiple series, and that's one of the benefits of being here with Flatout Racing Network. You know, you get to see a lot of the things. Well, I was chatting to a lot of the drivers here tonight. I've got a lot of faith in these guys. I got a lot of faith in these guys. I think if any series that we cover can do a nice and clean race, it's going to be these guys. We've seen some amazing racing. Look at the races that we had at Phoenix. A couple touches. You know, but that's just NASCAR. That's just how the sport goes, right? So you can't expect a perfect race. But these guys pretty much week in, week out have driven hard, close, well-contested races with a lot of respect for each other in the room they provide. Martinsville asks a lot of different questions, though. So I don't know how I'm going to feel at the end of the night. But who knows? I love to be surprised.
Also got to wonder too, mentioned that we had that off week last week. Before that, the week before, they were at the dirt-covered Bristol. And we know that short tracks breed short tempers. You have to wonder with back-to-back short tracks if some rivalries might have been kindled 2 weeks ago and might flow over into tonight's event.
Well, they're actually something else I was actually had the benefit of talking to them about. They said that it's probably a good thing we didn't cover Bristol. Look, it asks a lot of different questions of the drivers, and you know, in similar vein as to the short track stuff. And they just said, look, it was fun. It was really, really good. But little less said about that, the better.
Oscar Jensen, who rolls off from the outside of row 5, was awfully happy they ran it. He was the winner there 2 weeks ago. So far here in the first 6 races of the season, we have had 5 different drivers go to victory lane. Jeremy Bushi, the only 2-time winner so far this season in Clutch Drop, and Mike Tellier lines up on the pole position. You know, it's interesting here too, because coming tonight, even though this is the 2nd season of Clutch Drop, all these drivers are on a level playing field in the fact they've never run a green flag lap here at Martinsville in this series. It's the first time that this track is making its debut on the schedule.
Well, I was a little bit concerned there for a second that you said they'd never run a green flag lap. What, have they been here before and every lap has been under caution? You really had me concerned.
Pace Truck won that race.
Oh good. Look, the pace truck tonight might have to come down pit road and get some bonus fuel put on board. Who knows? We don't know until we get there. But it's gonna be a good night. Like I said, I've got a lot of high hopes. These guys, full of respect for each other. They are phenomenal race car drivers, these guys. That's one of the best parts about this series. The racing is so good, so close, and yet respect is shown by everyone. So I'm keen for another good night of racing, man. There's not much more you can say. Here we go.
25-car field will take the green flag, and we're racing here tonight at Martinsville. Now, we are guaranteed 2 caution flags to come out tonight. That, of course, is going to be our stage breaks. Stage 1 comes to a conclusion at the completion of lap 100. Stage 2 at 200, leaving us with 125 laps to finish out this race. As Mike Tellier, only 1 top 10, 1 top 5 on the season, but 4th in the standings, is going to lead lap number 1.
Tellier's, to be perfectly honest, compared to last season, Tellier's not had it all his own way. He definitely... Whoa, the number 2's round! And that's Belmonte that gets collected in that as well.
And the caution's going to fly, and it looked like, at least from the back angle of that camera view, the 2 just got flat out sideways off corner exit on that top side.
Yeah, he did, and I'm just trying to look who got caught up in that. 24 got through... Belmonte gets caught up, and the 89 Brendan King gets caught up. So that's a couple of our better drivers. They get through that very, very clean. Again, I'm impressed. Look, it happens, right? Short track racing, you're gonna come to blows with a few people. There's nothing you can do about that. But have a look at the way that they did that. It was fantastic. Everyone checked up the way that they needed to.
And I think this could be attributed to 2 things. Number 1, cold tires. Number 2, not any rubber really put up in that second groove yet. So when you try and mash the throttle on corner exit, you're going to have quite a bit of wheel spin.
Yeah, you really got to bring that throttle in gradually. It's you can't just get to full throttle as quickly as you really want to. So they're gonna have to deal with that tonight, unfortunately. Wow. I mean, that's part and parcel of Martinsville, right? You know, you've got to pick up that throttle gradually. You've really got to look after your tires. You've got to look after everything you've got to the best of your abilities. So, look, I've got a little bit of faith here that we're gonna see an extended green flag run. Who knows?
Justin Belmonte is down pit road along with Brandon King and Cam Caldwell, pretty much the three drivers involved in that. Belmonte, so far, even including back at Bristol Dirt, the only driver this season that has finished up inside the top 10 in all 6 starts. A little bit of an early issue for him here tonight, but I guess if you're going to run into trouble here at Martinsville or at any short track, have it early on. Use the rest of the race to be able to mount a comeback, because if you end up getting involved in a wreck with 10, 15 to go, the likelihood of a comeback is slim to none.
And the level of aggression that you have to go through is, you know, not the greatest, because then obviously you're pushing everything to its limits and then a little bit beyond. So he's got to settle in. He's got to really get himself going, and he's got a little bit of damage. There was quite a heavy contact on the front end of the car, so there's a few issues he's going to have to work through for the remainder of the night. But Belmonte's a phenomenal driver. He's, like you said, he's the most consistent driver we've got in the series at the moment. He's coming down pit road every time, get that a little bit more damage. He's going to need a caution-filled race to get that damage cleared. But here's the hope that he's not down too far on RPMs.
Looks like we had Caldwell and Belmonte come back down pit road for a little extra TLC to their machines. So the couple of cars that were down pit road under this yellow flag, Alex Link and Tristan Mayer. Then we got to talk about here today as well is tires. Here tonight, for the first time this season, these drivers will have 5 sets, not counting the ones that they started this race on, waiting for them on pit road. In the first 6 races, they only had 5 sets of tires. Here tonight, first time we crossed that 6 sets of tire threshold.
Yep, look, give him a few extra sets of rubber. You know, let's see what can happen. Who knows? I mean, this gives us a little... We've certainly seen that a lack of tires has created some interesting strategies. Let's go in the other direction and see what happens. I'm keen for it, man. You never know what's going to happen here. Anything could possibly happen. You know, this could be a great race. It could be a terrible race because of it.
And it looks like we are going to go single file restart here. We had double file for the initial start of the race. Looks like it will be single file here for the first restart tonight, as Mike Tellier gets back up through the gears over Alonso Chicano, Sean English, Drew Ashley, and Jeremy Bushi, the points leader.
Yeah, so another good start. Get their heads down, see what can happen.
Caution.
Matt Dyer is around. I'm just going to say he's just got loose, just trying to get the car back up. Well, we said that Caldwell and Belmonte needed some caution to get themselves back into the swing of things, but I don't think that they were expecting this. Look, I ran an official myself once this week, and we had a 2-second green flag run at one point, so this looks a little bit like that.
Yeah, very similar, I would assume, as Matt Dyer. It doesn't look like he made a whole lot of contact with where his car was positioned there on the front straightaway. Maybe a little contact with the left front. We'll take a look back at what happened, see if there was any help or not. Nope, just loose off of turn 4, all by his lonesome.
Yep. Get some heat in those tires, boys. Settle in a little bit. So you're going to see probably the 3 of those guys at the rear of the field continue to just cycle through the pit lane, cycle through the pit lane, cycle through the pit lane. What they're trying to do is they're trying to just get their cars back to that optimum performance. They would have lost a little bit of the engine. So for those of you who are fresh in NASCAR, the way that really displays itself in terms of iRacing is you lose engine RPM. So how you test that, you put the clutch in, wait for the engines to hit its idle threshold. Normal idling is 2,000 RPM on the engine. So anything that's underneath that, that's how many RPMs you've lost. Now that can equate on a longer track. It's a lot more prevalent. On these tracks, not quite as much. You can get away with it, not too badly. So anyway, it looks like we did actually grab a lucky dog early on. I didn't. Brandon King, I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it was Brandon. No, I don't think it was Brandon King. Who got the lucky dog there?
Trying to
Tim Mayer?
see. Yes, I think it is. I think it's Tristan Mayer in the 17. Yep. He lost a lap apparently under the last caution. And so now 23 of the 24 cars will be on the lead lap. Brandon King, the only lap machine in 24th place. But if another caution comes out, we'd have all 24 drivers that started this race back on the lead lap, as we've now crossed over lap 10. And we should, I believe, get the 1 to green signal this time. Now, if you're Mike Tellier, Are you liking to see these quick yellows because it's less laps under this first stage that you have to hold off your competitors behind you and you're able to just tick off these laps under pacing? Or do you want this thing to go green and see just how good your car is compared to the others if you can pull away?
I want to mix. Because I want to have a look at what the short run speed is like. I want to have a look at what the other drivers want to do in terms of tire strategy as well. These guys are going to run about 85 laps to sort of fuel. I was talking to them earlier tonight, so I've got my stint analyzer open. I'll be going to keep an eye on that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, look, I mean, I want to see a little bit of both. I really want to see a little bit of both. I think he's got short run speed. I'm not sure how he's going to go in the long run, but he just wants to keep leading this field away. So I think one to green.
Keep an eye on a couple of these guys up here inside of the top 5. Obviously had great qualifying efforts, but also were up there pretty top, close to the top of the leaderboard during practice as well as far as speeds. Sean English in the 60 is only making his second start in the season. He started his first race back at Phoenix. And then you've got 4th place running Drew Ashley, who's actually making his debut here tonight for the season in the Clutch Drop Cup Series. A lot of drivers sometimes will see a certain track on the schedule and decide, you know what, I want to see how I'm going to do there. It's kind of my forte.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have talked. Drew Ashley spinning it off of turn 4,
what did
coming
you do?
to the green flag. The commentator's
What
curse.
did you do,
It
Seth?
struck. It struck. Well, front end damage there on the Credit One Toyota.
Honestly, though, the benefit of this is that all of these have been self-spins. They haven't been bumping and grinding and shoving people around, which is perfect. It's actually really, really good. So, Alonso Chicano and Matt Dyer engaged and said, rip the announcers, and then Matt followed up and said, I blame Scott for actually coming in here and saying something about how great they are at driving, and they're like, now they're blaming me. So this is all my fault, Seth. I'm sorry. Look, I've dragged you into this. My bad.
We had another car that actually spun out back there too. I couldn't tell who that was. Spun up towards the outside wall. I think of it too that I think we could kind of attribute this to is the fact that this is open setup. Drivers are able to set up the cars the way they want it. There's going to be different gear ratios. There's going to be different amounts of wedge and track par put in. A lot of times it's all about drivers' comfort. Sometimes drivers kind of throw that out the window to have a fast race car, and that could be a reason why we're seeing a lot of these drivers really have difficulty with that loose sensation, especially on cornered exit.
Well, right now, you got to remember, the thing that I did notice when I was running the officials the other night is that initially it took a few laps for everyone to actually be able to get a start going, but after that it was just back-to-back, just green flag sort of runs once people sort of got themselves a little bit settled. So, to be perfectly honest, from my point of view, I just think that the tires just don't have enough heat in them, so really it's just coming down to them, just the drivers just being a little bit more aware of the heat in the tires, and they're going to back it all the way off, pick the throttle up. Let's just get going first, build ourselves in the stint. I expect from here, though, that this entire first stint is going to go green to the end. Fuel is going to be fine at the end. We're now past that threshold where I think people have to pit, so I think we're good.
The commentator's curse definitely struck. Drew Ashley, I no sooner talk about him up inside the top 5. He has that spin on the restart, and he's going to be the first driver out of the race. Brought that Toyota Camry down pit road, made the left-hand turn into the infield, into the garage. He'll finish 24th position here tonight, and as we saw with that onboard, Braden Carroll was the other driver that had that spin off of turn 4. He spun up to the outside and had to wait until everybody goes on by. And that's one of the tough things about short tracks, particularly Martinsville as well. Usually when a car spits in the corner, it's going to spin up the outside line. And usually at short tracks, you have a conveyor belt of cars. There's no opportunity to be able to then get the car refired, turn around, find a space to continue on, because there's always going to be oncoming traffic.
Yep, and you just got to file to the end of the line. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. You just got to sit there, be patient. And again, drivers doing a really, really good job tonight. Normally in official racing, and specifically in circuit racing and officials, you see a lot of guys spin, and the first reaction that they have is get back going as soon as possible. They don't check their relatives. They're not looking for other cars around them. They're just trying to get back going, which in a racer's mindset, I'm trying to lose as little time as I possibly can. Look after everything I got. Lose as little time as I possibly can. And what it ends up causing is just accident after accident after accident. So a really good job by all of these guys. They're not worried about that. They're just straight back into the driving, seeing what they can do. Win it on the track.
Green flag back in the air here on lap 19 as Tellier trying to pull away. The battle right now going to be for second. That's where Alonso Chicano looks in his rearview mirror and sees the 60 of Sean English.
Hey, look at that. All of a sudden, a couple corners of green flag running, so I think we might be good this time. And I tell you what, Chicano's been coming strong. Right at the start of the season, I think he was struggling, but I don't think he is anymore. I think he's really settled into himself, so we'll see how that goes.
Battle for 5th place. That's where Brian Sybry, our winner from Homestead, looks back and sees the winner last time out 2 weeks ago at Bristol Dirt, Oscar Jensen, trying to go back-to-back here on the schedule at the short tracks.
Yeah, look, congratulations to Oscar Jensen on what was potentially a phenomenal win that we just could not bring to you. But I tell you what, he's got his work cut out for him tonight. Look at all the guys that are around him, All of a sudden, he's at the rear of the field. Sorry, that wasn't him. It was it two-car? This is Cam Caldwell. Sorry, my apologies. So, Austin Jensen, look, he's got his work cut out for him. He's got to really work hard. We'll see how he goes throughout the field. But he's got an opportunity tonight. He's got to recognize that and respect it.
Big battling right now. The wadding up is in the middle of the pack. That's where we find around 13th place. Chris Smith, Nathan Hall behind him, Matt Dyer, who had that spin. The 47 is up on the top side there. That's Keenan Massey. And then Tristan Mayer, who got the lucky dog 2 cautions ago to get himself back in the lead lap. He's now running in the 17th position. Should update that Brandon King, with that latest caution, is back on the lead lap now. So 21 drivers currently on the same lap as race leader Mike Tellier.
So we just got to keep our eyes on a few things tonight. Look at this, look at this battle for the lead. I think Chicano's about to send it down the inside. He's got a long side. He's got it. He got it done.
Alonso Chicano's very good at the tracks with the heavy braking zones. Picked up his first win of the season back at Phoenix. And he will now clear for the position, leaving the door open for second place. That's going to be Sean English, who's going to move on by for second. That's another thing about short tracks. If you let a driver to your inside, there's going to be about 3-4 other drivers lined up there as well that are not going to let you back down to the bottom of the racetrack.
No obligation to let you in, so of course there's no way in heck they're going to be letting you in, so look, all power to them. They're doing what they can, but yeah, let's see if Tellier can settle it. We talked about it, short run pace now, so now that we've got a few little runs and he's had to settle in, he's starting to shuffle himself back, and we've seen this a lot from Mike Tellier this season, is that he's had to build a short run car. He's had to qualify well, and then all of a sudden under these long runs, you've seen Cyber, you've seen Boucher, you've seen Belmonte, all of these sorts of guys, Chicano even, just start to run away with it on the long run. So I think Tellier is going to have to go back to the garage and with the back end of the season in mind and just start working it out. Oh, yellow's out again. Do I, work on a car that's going to be slightly better in that long run, or do I just stick with what I'm doing? Sean English just crashed on pit lane. Okay, he's out. Okay, Sean English, I saw a comment earlier on, and he basically just said, I don't want to do this if this is going to be caution filled. So that's really irresponsible from him, man. Like, you come in, you stuffed up a pit strategy, you should have finished first in the race, but you didn't, and it's very, very tough to speak well about a driver who just says, oh, this is going to be a caution-filled race, I'm out. Everyone else is... Look, here's how it works. Everyone is under the same sort of thing. Nobody wants to be sitting here through a caution-filled race. All these other guys are here under this caution-filled race. They have championship hopes. You're running up there in the top 3. I think that's very disrespectful to the league. And very disrespectful to other people's championship hopes.
Well, the driver that spun out to bring out this caution was the 77 of Blaine Woodruff, another driver running all by himself, and that Castrol GTX Ford loops around right in front of Nathan Hall and kind of stacked up drivers on that inside line. Alex Link and Tristan Mayer were in the vicinity there, but for the most part kind of got away with what could have been a multi-car incident as Woodruff does a nice little 360, keeps the thing going, and continues on. A couple of drivers actually had some struggles there on that little bit of a green flag run spurt as well. So Chris Smith could not get down to the bottom, and I think Brandon King had an issue. I don't know if he went up and got the outside wall. He seemed to be running rather high in the corners, and he dropped back towards the rear of the field very quickly as well. His telemetry dropped down about 20 miles per hour, lower than other drivers through the corners a couple of times there, but did manage to stay on the lead lap. And with this caution coming out, I believe it's going to put the 94 of Braden Carroll back on the lead lap.
You got to remember that he's in the middle and the back of the pack there, Brendan King. So normally there's generally two ways to attack it. You either get up to the front, you stay up the front, you race hard the whole race long. Very risky, very efficient though, keeps you out of the way of cautions. The other alternative is you just run a very slow race, you sit at the back of the pack, basically just your goal is to not lose a lap whilst keeping your car clean. And with Brandon getting involved in that early caution, I think that's his goal here, is basically, I'm just going to keep myself just barely on the lead lap. I'm going to get this car repaired as much as I need to, which I think he's actually already past that. I think he's already good. And then basically he's got time to react to any cautions or anything that are going to happen just in front of him, is what he's looking for. So he's just trying to stay out of people. There are a lot of people out here tonight that are going to be racing heavily for positions, and they're going to be racing very, very hard. He has said, I don't want in on that until it's necessary, which is coming up to an end of a stage or coming up to the end of the race. So
see if the pace truck gives us the lights out this time, and it will, so we'll go back green flag racing in 1 lap time. If you look at your top 5, you're looking at 4 of them as drivers that have been to victory lane already this season. Mike Tellier, the odd man out, but mention that he's 4th in the point standings, even though he's only got 1 finish inside the top 5 this season. The big reason has been his performance here in the first 2 stages of these races, racking up those stage points. They've helped him out a ton.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, he's been phenomenal in the stages. It's just blitz in the field, but then again falls back. So it's like, it's cost benefit, right? So he's getting the benefit of the stage points, but he's missing out on some big money points. The chicane will lead us away for this restart.
This time we went to a double file restart. First double file restart of the night.
There's contact in the middle of the pack. 94 of Braden Carroll going to the back corner of, I want to say, either Belmonte or Chris Smith.
And then we almost had contact there between our Daytona winner, Derek Schilling, and the 18 of Jacob Grant. Grant's going to pick up the spot not only on Schilling, but now moved by Dylan Stipe for the 8th spot. So the 18 is on the move.
Yeah, that 18 really cutting through the traffic, right? You know, he wants to go for it right now. He wants to get up ahead. And Grant has had one of these phenomenal run cars through the middle of a sort of an extended run. So look, he's got potential. He's there and about. So let's see how he does on a short track racing. A little bit different is the old short track racing.
Jeremy Bushi moving by Mike Tellier for 2nd place, the only multi-time winner this season with victories at Las Vegas and Atlanta, of course.
Spin. 69. Derek Schilling went around.
And also the 28 of Nathan Hall afterwards, a little closer to the start-finish line.
That's an odd one. Oh, there's contact, just dodging the accident, basically. So just trying to pick up who
Carroll
it is.
in the 27. I'm not certain, but it looked like I saw a plume of smoke come up from the hood of that machine. He actually had to teleport to pit road, so potential engine damage for him.
Yeah, just having a look, Braden Carroll got into the 28 machine of Nathan Hall and spun him around trying to avoid the accident. Look, that's part and parcel of it. I think the 69 went around on his own. The smoke I'm seeing out of the 69, though, doesn't appear to be engine. It might be, though.
I think he got a little help. I think 69 got a little bit of help there from the 27.
Okay, yeah, there you go. I'm not going back far enough, so... Hey, look, short track racing. These guys are going to figure it out for themselves sometimes, so... Yeah, it's part and parcel. It happens.
And then Braden Carroll not only had that spin with the 28, spinning him around the front straightaway, he took a pretty good shot with the left front into the front end of the 69 of Derek Schilling, who was already facing 90 degrees the wrong way.
Yeah, so I think there's a few cars we're going to be missing out on after this caution. There's just sort of keep our eyes on damage, see what's going to be happening, because it's... all of a sudden, I think we're going to go into damage limitation mode, and I think some of those guys are opting to run at the back of the pack. They may have a small advantage. Who knows?
thing that we know about short tracks is you don't necessarily have to have the prettiest car to be able to win the race. Sometimes the
No,
car
you
can look
don't.
like it's been through a demo derby and still be up to speed, still be competitive. But what are some of the things you would be looking at that would kind of have you think, all right, this car now is just too damaged to be able to be competitive?
Uh, Mainly engine temperatures, no control over engine temperatures. As soon as you get into it, things just start going backwards in terms of your ability to control that. Probably, well, smoke. Smoke is the definite one. If the engine's smoking, ain't much you can really do about that. So, um, other than that, if I'm wearing tires are overheating. I'm just not able to keep up with people. If I'm down over, anywhere from like 100 RPM, that is very, very bad. So,
As we saw right there with the onboard with Bob Carroll, that car never got refired again after being stopped down the inside of turn 4, and he has now gone to the garage area. So 3 drivers will not make it to the 50 lap mark here tonight. Bob Carroll, Sean English, and Drew Ashley. Lucky dog under this caution. Looks like it's going to go to Chris Smith in the 55. So of the 21 cars still running, 20 will be on the lead lap. Now, I was going to mention before that spin took place, Jeremy Bushi comes into this race the points leader. So right now the goal is clear for the 73 car. Try and get as many more trips to victory lane here during the regular season because number 1, you want to rack up those bonus points for wins when the playoff points are reformatted. Number 2, you want to win the regular season championship, get yourselves those bonus points as well. He was 11 points over Justin Belmonte coming into this race for the overall points lead. Of course, Belmonte had early issues back on lap 2. So far has been able to work his way up to 12th place. So that points battle is still on, but obviously the 73 wants to keep the 12 in his rearview mirror, take a little bit more extra points heading to Richmond next week.
yeah, just keep the car clean. Pretty much here, if you can stay towards the front of things, you're gonna be in a good little spot. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. So pretty much just gonna be just conservation, keep yourself running, see what you can get done. So
3rd place. Make that 4th, actually. Just exchanged hands. Braxton DeWeese getting around Oscar Jensen. DeWeese started outside of the top 5. Now finds himself here in a possible 3-way battle for 2nd place as Mike Tellier holding the inside line, maybe holding up the 73 who wants to go. And the other thing is, too, we know that at a track like Martinsville, you can only hold up somebody for so long before they're going to say, hey, I'm faster than you. Here's 1 tap to let you know that I want to get by. Here's a 2nd tap to move you out of the way, saying, hey, enough of running behind you.
yeah, and look, I mean, you want to get through. Well, I'm looking at guys like Braxton DeWeese right now who are just slowly working their way through the field. We mentioned it. Fuel is going to be marginal. I think they're safe now. I think there's been enough caution. Oh, it's on. It is on. I think Bushi wants by Italia because there was some contact right there. A little bit of Morse code rubbing on the rear bumper. Chicano's starting to show a little bit of pace. He's starting to clear the heels out, and I don't disagree with Bushi. I think he needs to get by Tellier as well, and I think he wants to apply. There's some more pressure. There's some more contact. So Bushi's just saying, hey, buddy, time to move out of the way. I'm coming.
In the front row seat there as we ride on board with Jeremy Bushi, and I think Tellier got the message. Ran the 2nd group that time.
Oh! Tellier's around. He got loose, and then one of the cars that was coming through got into him. I think
Collected up Oscar Jensen, and look back there further.
Yeah.
You've got Brian Siberry over in 3 and 4 that spun out, and I think I might have just seen a trail of black smoke come out from underneath that car. Might have tried to get back up into 1st gear for a little wheel spin and might have done something to the motor.
That's unfortunate. Unfortunate for one of the guys that's been running, so well off in this season. So yeah, it's Jensen that gets caught up in Tellier. We're very lucky to not get the track blocked at that stage, but this one, I need to have a look at the one with, you said it was Cybery, didn't you?
It did. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think that the 33 spin brought the caution out.
It did, but the other one happened at the stage.
Right, so the 97 and the 46, the field would have been frozen. The 97 and the 46 are actually going to get the spots back of where they were at the time that caution came out, which would be, I believe, in 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, they would be. Well, My question is, was Talia ahead at that stage? So
Not 100% certain. Let's take a look and see what happened to our winner from Homestead, Brian Cybery. And ooh, we've seen a lot of drivers have issues off corner exit. This time it was getting into the corner. That car was facing almost 30 degrees, too far to the inside by the time he entered into turn 3.
all right, so I got good news on the Cybery front. Is it a gearbox problem? I think Cybery's was off the ground. Brake lock? That's so weird. I have no idea what happened there, Cybery.
The one thing that I'm trying to figure out there, and maybe it's because we're under the nighttime conditions, maybe the smoke looks a little bit darker of a shade. Yeah, because when I saw him refire the car over there in turns 3 and 4, it looked like that dark gray smoke that's usually accustomed to some problem with the engine, and yet he was able to drive away from the incident.
Generally a failure. So for the fans out there that don't do a lot of iRacing, so there's a couple different kinds of smoke. You're going to get a really light gray smoke for generally in day conditions. That's tires locking, wheel spin, those sorts of things. Really fluffy, quite easy to see through. Wheel spin, especially multiple car wheel spin as you're going sideways, that's quite thick gray smoke. Then you're going to get even thicker gray smoke filled with oil. That's when somebody's engine is on the way out, and if you follow through behind them, you get a lot of oil spatter, and your windscreen will start to get quite dirty on the cars. If you're in an open wheel car or a dirt car, you'll need to take a tear off, which is totally fine. Other than that, you probably have to pit to grab a windscreen tear off. And then the other one is that really, really dark smoke. Now, the smoke that came out of Cybery's car was darker than it would normally be for an engine failure. Normally, the smoke for an engine failure is, it's like a dark gray. It's not close to a black or anything like that. I think we're about getting ready to go racing.
We are indeed, as battle's going to be for third place. Now, our broadcast colleague Matthew Rodriguez just brought up a point here that this Martinsville has that grass underneath the curbing in the corners. Could it have been with the fact that the rear tires of the 33 were actually on the grass, that we were seeing some dirt getting kicked up there in the smoke as the caution's going to come out again? And this time it's Brian Cybery again, along with Belmonte.
77 of Blaine Woodruff just drives it into the rear corner of Justin Belmonte.
7th caution of the evening here at Martinsville, and we are just now halfway to the completion of stage number 1. We'll take a look at this over into turn 3, and oh wow, yeah, a lot of times there's a phrase called a dive bomb. I think that's kind of what this was into turn 3.
No, I honestly, I'm just looking at it. I think that just their braking points are slightly different. I think it's just a miscommunication, because these guys haven't been running around each other. Belmonte last pit on lap 16, I can pretty much guarantee he wouldn't have took tires, but for him to get up further up in the field where he would have had to have been heavier on the tires to get there. So his tire condition right now, not necessarily great, whereas somebody like the 77 machine of Blaine Woodruff could have been a little bit better off in terms of tire life. I'm just having a look. He hasn't been down pit road, so he's a little bit fuel conservation-y, but given the number of caution laps, again, I think we're safe in terms of we don't need a pit stop to get home. But he might be a little bit lighter on the tires. His line might be slightly different. I think it's it looks to be just a slight difference in braking markers. That's all. I don't think it's a dive bomb in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I agree with you now, because actually when we ride on board here with Blaine Woodruff, it almost kind of looks like Belmonte was giving him that inside line and then made that slightly late move there towards the inside going into turn 3.
From the outside, it doesn't look like he moves down at all. It actually looks like he's just taking a normal line in the corner. So it's one of those close ones where I think from the cockpit, and Woodruff actually jumped on the comms. Woodruff was actually the driver doing the driver's briefing tonight. So he jumped on the comms and immediately said, "Don't come down on me or else that's going to happen." And Belmonte wasn't happy that he got hit in the rear because it was a rear contact. So it's one of those difficult ones where I think both drivers are actually in the right there. So...
And it's 325 laps that these drivers have to keep their emotions in check. Sometimes that's a tall order, especially with the bumper-to-bumper racing we've already seen here tonight at Martinsville. Looks like another driver has made an early departure from the race here tonight, Oscar Jensen, who picked up that victory 2 weeks ago in the last race at Bristol Dirt. So the opportunity for back-to-back short track wins, that is now null and void for the 46 car. It looks like... I don't think we had a lucky dog under that caution, but we do, it looks like, have another driver that's getting out on track. A driver that missed the start. The 72 of Tim Hendry is now coming off of pit road. So it's still a long ways to go. We know he can at least work his way up to the 25th position, and if we continue to have more and more drivers possibly retire out of this race, he could snag himself a top 20.
Yeah, there's a few drivers that I'm sort of just keeping my eye on, just sort of keeping their cars clean. Looking down the field, guys that are still on the lead lap. So Belmonte's obviously got a quite hammered-in car right now. Cybery's still clean. Cybery's actually relatively clean. So I'm actually really curious in terms of how can he look after this car in traffic. He may just adopt that strategy, whereby... Look, there's not a scratch on this car, and this car's been around twice. You know, what a drive by Cyber to keep that thing that clean. So I think he's just sitting there. Tristan Mayer has a big whack in the rear end, so he's been punted around at some point. Chris Smith has been tapped in the right rear corner. Brandon King we saw on that earlier lap. Tellier's now back there as we go green once again.
And Chicano's going to pull away by about a car length and a half back to Braxton DeWeese. Third place, Jacob Grant, Jeremy Bouchy in fourth, and Alex Link now makes his first appearance up inside of the top five. Battle right now is going to be for the sixth position. Cam Caldwell, who we talked about spinning to bring out the first caution, has now worked his way up here into the top 10, just moved by Dylan Stipe for that sixth position.
Yeah, good work by Dylan Stipe as well, just recognizing, hey, he's down there, let's earn some favor. Something I always talk about in psychology, guys, you let somebody in later on in the race, you are going to get paid back that little bit of space. You're going to get raced a little bit cleaner, less door-to-door, and that's really what you want about. Leagues, a lot of the time, don't focus on give and take. Drivers just want to take. It's in their nature, they're race car drivers, but sometimes you just got to give. You got to give that little bit of extra space. You got to let that move happen. You got to recognize, hey, I'm not the fastest driver right now.
Oh, Matt Dyer off of turn 4, back up towards traffic. Everyone will avoid him, but caution will fly for the 8th time here tonight. He was being pressured from behind by Mike Tellier. Might have tried getting back to the throttle a little too soon, looped it around himself, I do believe, with the camera shot that we had. Turn 4 has not been the friend to that 8 car here tonight. Second time he has spun off the final corner.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at that one. It looks like nearly he just starts to lose it on the cement, and then as it comes back to the asphalt, he just completely loses it. So I wonder whether or not there is a little bit of a bump there, so whether or not he's just hit that. The wheel's nearly straight at that point, though, so that's one of the more odd ones. But Dyer was running reasonably well up there. He was progressing his way slowly forward, but not anymore.
That was a much harder hit that time into the inside wall than the previous spin that Dyer had off of turn 4, and it has now brought him down pit road to the attention of his crew. Now, I was noticing that Mike Tellier in the 97, our pole sitter, was back in that vicinity. He had come down pit road, a bit of an extended stay for damage repair, but I almost wondered, since we are halfway through our first caution, if maybe there might have been an opportunity of taking on a set of tires there, since these drivers do have 5 sets on pit road that they're able to work with during the course of this race.
So I'm just watching. Braxton DeWeese opted to go down pit road and whatnot as well. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe there's a question mark over tires. He's actually come back out in 13th spot. There's a fair few drivers who have taken it. So 13th back have all opted to 13th back on the lead lap have all opted to take a pit stop there. I'm just looking at last pit lap. So you've got Belmonte in there. You've got Grant. Jacob Grant went down pit road with him. So there's going to be a few guys coming forward here. I don't think it's a bad idea. We've had so many laps on a caution, right? So we're at 67 now. Now, I said that getting to the stage on fuel is no longer a question mark. These guys are probably looking beyond that stage. They're setting themselves up in terms of fuel strategy. Come down, get that tank topped off. Now, at your next stop, you don't have to be static for anywhere near as long. You can take the option only to take right side tires. Maybe you've got options. You're giving yourself options with this strategy by coming down. That, and you're gonna have a little bit more pace. You know, the lap speed has not burned off all that much. I mean, I'm just gonna have a quick look at Chicano's last few lap times. Currently, he did his fastest lap on lap 49. So there's no real major advantage in the tires. So who knows, you know? Sorry, my apologies. I was looking at practice lap times. That's a little bit of a fall off, maybe half a second, but not a huge deal. Still in the 19s for a large portion of his fastest is 19.759. So there's a little bit of a fall off. We're looking 0.2, 0.3 to 0.4 of a second. Not a huge deal, but it is such a short track and the car's going to be so bunched up. Who knows? Anything could happen here.
Going back to Braxton DeWeese, Jacob Grant, and others coming down pit road under this caution period, it does make sense that they would be looking towards a possible race win strategy as far as it's concerned, not really concerned about stage points because, you know, you got Chicano and Bushi out here. What they're worried about is the stage win. They've already got victories here this season, so a stage win is an extra playoff point. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, that's what they're looking for. I'd be very cautious here. Braxton DeWeese, right on the rear bumper of Cybery. So Cybery looks like he's going a little bit deeper into the corner into the brakes, whereas he's going to have Jacob Grant to his outside, gets by Chris Smith, so that's all well and good. Smith's just going to hang it in there. So the 28's holding the bottom lane, so that's Nathan Hall, and you can definitely tell that Cybery and DeWeese are faster than him. DeWeese is really locked in. Jacob Grant right now, he can't do a lot. So what I'd be doing in his position is just holding onto those tires. Look after those tires just to make sure that you're just as quick as Braxton ahead of you. And you just got a little bit more tire life as they get down the inside there now.
Riding on board with the 18.
Oh!
And we're going to get a first
What did you do?
Spinning off the corner. I've got to stop going on the camera angles these guys are talking about.
What did you do? You murdered him.
He didn't hit anything. He's fine. He's fine.
You absolutely murdered him. What did you do? What did you do?
Man. Jacob Grant brings out the 9th caution of the evening with that spin off of turn 4, and I'm gonna just sit back and not say anything now because apparently I'm passing on some bad mojo to drivers. I've got 2 drivers so far that have gone under the microscope.
So this goes against what Braxton DeWeese kind of wants. He wants an extended green flag running. It's gonna be this one is gonna be a marathon. So if you thought there was gonna be a short race, buck yourselves in. Maybe go get yourself a beverage. Put on some tunes in the background and listen to us. I'm actually tempted to break out some karaoke here in a minute just to keep everyone entertained. So
he was karaokeing pre-race, so I guarantee you he would do it.
Roads, take me home.
Never heard John Denver with an Australian accent. That's a first for me.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a long night. You gotta find ways to keep yourself awake. So whatever works.
We got another driver that's gone behind the wall. Matt Dyer is going to finish potentially in 20th. Looks like probably 21st as Tim Hendry continues to start to pick the bones of the drivers that have retired early. He's already passed Drew Ashley for 24th, and he's only got about 50 laps before he would actually move his way up inside of the top 20. And it's going to set us up now with somewhere in the vicinity of about 25 laps to go here, a little bit less than that for this first stage. One thing that I noticed there is Cam Caldwell, Alex Link, Mike Tellier. These drivers have been to pit road at certain points of this first stage, but Jeremy Bushi, with 75-lap old tires, was able to hold off both Caldwell and Link, who were really pressuring him for second place. He was able to hold him off and retain that runner-up spot there when we went back green.
Yeah, I was just actually having a look through the different tires and things. Braxton DeWeese ran his fastest lap was a 19.843. With those fresher tires, though, just then he didn't really get clean air, so he didn't really get to have a crack. But I was having a look at Chicano. Chicano's fastest lap of the race was just recently. I think no, I'm wrong. It was all the way back on lap 21, which was a 19.759. On lap 71, he ran a 19.876. So he's only a tenth off his fastest pace of the race. So tires here really aren't going to be a thing. The only time it is going to pop up and be a thing is if you start locking brakes. I noticed a few times that Deweese in traffic had to really check up in the mid corner. He locked the inside front tire, so that's going to burn up really, really quickly. I think just having a look at this so far tonight, I think the strategy is to stay out. I don't think you can ever pit and be safe. It's just not going to be good enough. So this just in from Matt Rodriguez, Flatout Racing Network. What would you call him? Owner, co-commentator,
A little bit
the
of
guy
both.
that funds all of our stupidity.
Brains of FRN.
Just said to me, "You're butchering my favorite song. Please stop."
Oh, man. All right, so we're getting set here for what is going to be officially 23 laps of this first stage, with Chicano and Bushi the front row to get us back underway. Green flag gonna fly once again. Go back to your point about like lap times not really falling off. Oh, Cam Caldwell just got sent over into turn 1, so I'll get to that point in a little bit.
Oh boy, it's gonna be a long one. What else is in the karaoke jukebox? What do you got? What's your favorite song, Seth? How can I ruin that for you?
I got a lot of favorite songs, so let me go through
Country?
my playlist. I'll get back to you. Go back and see what happened here to Cam Caldwell as he was running second, and looks like Jeremy Bushi just did not want to wait to try and battle for that second spot. Cross lane over down to the inside and just hooked the 2-car around, and then the outside line was blocked up.
Oh,
Tristan Mayer
that's
got a
net
piece of the
code.
17.
It looks like, I'm just having a quick look at it. The cars are very, very close together, but I actually think they don't directly make contact. But it could be netcode, it could be either.
We'll see if our chopper cam will give us a good enough aerial view here. As there's Bushi crossing down. Yeah, I mean, on that side,
there's like
it
a
looked
2-inch
like he
gap.
was clear. Yep.
There's a 2-inch gap, so it's netcode, but it's the
space.
slightest netcode. I'm not even worried about that. They wouldn't have made contact there, so that's a perfectly fine move. It's just unlucky. There's nothing you can do about that.
Well, you're not worried about it. You're up here in the booth. Cam Caldwell is, because now he's got a lot of front-end damage, especially to the right front of his machine, and actually has to bring that thing down pit road. A driver who had to get a lucky dog early on in this one, was able to battle his way back up after getting the free pass to the top 5, and now finds himself with another issue here, closing in to the end of this first stage.
Oh, hard night at the office for Cam. Look, heart goes out to him, man. He's clearly, trying to work his way through, and he's come through traffic multiple times. He's done a great job working his way through traffic. Unfortunately, when it's not your night, huh?
Apparently not at the moment for that 2 machine. Still repairs going on with his car. Same for Tristan Mayer, who had some pretty good damage to the front of his car around the grill area after he got a little piece of the incident over there in turn 1. There you see Caldwell on the right side of your screen, still with his crew, giving that car a little bit of TLC. Starting to notice that some of these machines are starting to look like 358 modifieds out there rather than stock cars. The 89 of Brandon King currently running around without a front bumper, and by the time we get to the end of this race, that might be the normal look for these drivers here tonight.
Not the ones up in front, and not keep your eyes on Cybery. Like I mentioned, he's been around, and he's been around, and he's been near a lot of the wrecks so far tonight. He's been around, and he's been around. He's been around a lot of the incidents and things going on tonight, but he's still got a clean car. If anyone actually wants to sit here, watch, and learn from a driver, my recommendation is Cybery. Look at him. He's in these spots that are highly contentious. He's in a spot where an incident can happen, and every single time he's kept a clean car. Something that I preach on about day after day after day after day after day is how all of these incidents are that takes 2 to tango, right? And he has taken that quite to heart, and he's kept his car clean. Great job.
Green flag back in the air, 17 laps to go here in the first stage as Chicano pulls away again. It's going to be teammates that'll battle for second, actually make that more for third as Alex Link drops back into the clutches of Mike Tellier in the 97, who, as we mentioned, is really good in the first 2 stages, just can't seem to follow it up in the third and final stage. Even the race leader getting loose there off of 4.
Whoa, Chicano now comes back to the pack. Tellier tries to send it down the inside. Not quite enough space there. Didn't have enough entry speed. He's got it though. Tellier's going to be down the inside, heading into 3 and 4 here. All of a sudden, Alex Link has to check up. He says, you know what? It's not worth it. I'm just going to let him go. I'll get it back later on. Great decision-making by Alex Link there. He's looking after the quality of his car. Have a look at Braxton DeWeese, though. He's already driven his way all the way back up to 7th, Seth. 7th!
And he is continuing to lay down really good lap times. I think he ran faster than 3 drivers ahead of him on that last lap.
He's on a David Durand, so he's up to 6th.
Now the question is, he's currently running up about 2.8 seconds behind the race leader. Is 14 laps enough time to get up to the front and snag a stage win?
I don't think it's enough time to snag a stage win. What he's going to do, though, remember we were talking, he's not going to have to put as much fuel in the car as all the guys that are actually ahead of him. So keep your eyes on the pit stop. Braxton DeWeese is going to have the shortest stop of this lead bunch, and that could potentially put him in the lead after the stage.
Mike Tellier just moved into 2nd place, getting around Jeremy Boucher. Now has to make up about 1.2 seconds between himself and Alonso Chicano. Going to take a look at the lap times this time around, see what the difference is. Looks like Chicano ran a 19.8, Tellier a almost 20 flat. So advantage right now to the 10 machine, as Chicano's looking for his first stage win of the season, and Tellier's looking for his second.
Yeah, who knows what could happen. So if Tellier can get down there. Tellier's actually starting to, he's just lifted himself just a little bit more. He looks like he's trying to diamond off the corners a little bit more as well, so he's trying his absolute hardest, makes a little mistake on exit. Boucher's going to get down there underneath him, move him up the racetrack, and I tell you what, Alex Link will want to file in behind this as well and follow him along. Oh! He mentioned his name!
Oh no! Braxton DeWeese, what an avoidance there. I don't know if there was contact with his right front or not, but he nearly got collected up in that spin by the 71.
He dodged it! He dodged it! He completely dodged it! He got through there! How did that happen?
I don't know. I honestly thought that he was going to be leaving that cloud of smoke with the entire front end ripped off. As what a scary moment there. I mean, it's bad enough you see a car spinning off the corner, but when it overcorrects back up towards the racing line, I thought we were going to have a multi-car incident.
Oh boy, I'm just listening to a whole bunch of stuff.
At the time.
So, yeah, running in 4th, and what a, you know, oh my god damn it. Okay, so there's a lot of chatter on the radio at the moment. Derek Schilling didn't recognize that there was a car around because he was right in underneath the rear bumper of Chris Smith, and he's just gone up and tagged him into the. There's no room for them to go, you know, look at how much avoiding action Braxton DeWeese had to take. So there's a lot of chatter on the radio right now about, you know, should you be as aggressive as soon as that yellow comes out? Should you just back it right off? Look, ultimately, given how caution-filled this race has been, back it right off, man. Just, ultimately, he couldn't see it. He's trying to hang on to the position. When things shuffle themselves out, he's going to get that position back because of the freeze on the under caution, but take a different approach to it, maybe. It's a tough one.
Took a look at that tremendous avoidance there by Braxton DeWeese. And now we're going to take a look at that contact you were talking about. We saw it kind of at the tail end of the first shot of Alex Link spin off of turn 4. We'll take a little bit closer of a look here, as there you see the contact, 69 of Schilling into the back of Smith, puts him up into the outside wall. Not hard, but there will be a little bit of right side damage for that 55 team to have to try and maybe pull the right fenders away from the tires there. Could have been a lot worse, especially if the 69 was running almost up to speed coming off of that corner. And I mean, Derek Schilling right now on the lead lap, but we documented it in the 4 races after Daytona that we broadcasted, how after taking that checkered flag in the first race of the season, it's just like the luck train, the wheels fell off for Derek Schilling. And so here tonight at Martinsville, trying to get himself back on track.
Yeah, look. He's had a tough couple of races. I think he's been caught up in a lot of contact, and I think necessarily a lot of other people's just silly little things, you know. And he's taken them a little bit to heart. He definitely sounded a little bit flustered when he was on comms just before tonight. So he's got to shake that off. And if you're going to win a championship, you're going to put yourself in contention for a championship. You're going to have phases where you go through stuff like this. The pros, I mean, even the professional race car drivers, they could go to race after race after race, and 3 or 4 races in a row, they just get wrecked out every week. One of the best things they can do is shake that off, get back to their peak, and go for it again, you know?
So we are coming to the end of this stage. Looks like we might finish it with a shootout, as I believe the lights did go out. So yeah, 4-lap shootout to decide who's going to get the stage points here.
Is this single or it's double? It's double.
It's double. And I'm looking here right now at our top 6. These have been guys that have been up in the top 10 most of this race. Chicano, Bushi, Tellier, DeWeese, Stipe, and Durand in the 24. But look at some of these names in the latter half of the top 10 that are trying to get some stage points here that had early issues. Keenan Massey, Justin Belmonte, Blaine Woodruff, Nathan Hall. I mean, at least 3 of those drivers were facing the wrong way in the first 20 laps.
Yep, and that's what it's about. You shake off what happens. Something's going to happen to you at some stage during short track racing. How you handle that is entirely up to you. You can handle it by getting aggressive. You can handle it by jumping on the microphone, or you can shake it off, put your foot back in that accelerator, and keep going.
David Durand, whoa, got loose off of 4 as Dylan Stipe got around him for the 5th position. Durand going to start dropping back towards the end of the top 10. Keenan Massey moving up into 6th place, and the battle up there inside of the top 4 is not over. These drivers realize one more position is one more stage point they can gain. Tellier, Boozy, and DeWeese all nose to tail.
That is disappointing. Okay, so Jacob Grant just said on the radio, if you're going to keep blocking, man, I'm going to have to move you out of the way. And that's exactly what just happened.
Couldn't tell who was the car that spun. Might have maybe been the 55 or the 33.
It's a 28.
It's Nathan Hall.
It's Nathan Hall. Jacob Grant made contact with him, spun him.
And remember, Nathan restarted there on that last restart up inside of the top 10, was 9th when that green flag flew. We'll go back and see what happened here. And yeah, Jacob Grant in the 18, not willing to be blocked here into turn 3, and absolutely sent the 28 car around. And, is that, 71 of Alex Link and the 55 of Chris Smith that got pieces of that as well. So, looks like stage 1 is going to end under yellow flag. This will be the completion of the first stage, and Mike Tellier, I believe, is going to inherit the lead. It was Alonso Chicano who is going to get credited for the stage win.
Yeah, Chicano gets it. Tellier is going to stay out here. He's gonna Tellier. My graphic keeps popping up and telling me 2 different things. Tellier did go to the pits on lap 50. Nathan Hall still hasn't pit, so he's going to stay out. I don't half mind this decision from Nathan. He's trying to earn himself a little bit of track position. What this means, though, is that all the drivers that are around him have got to be recognized, right? Jacob Grant, who ends up spinning Hall under that last caution, he's on faster tires. Show your nose down the inside. At no stage did he ever actually show his nose down the inside. He didn't pull all the way down to the inside of the track and say, hey, I'm trying to come by. There was talked about during the driver's briefing if there's a faster car coming, somebody on different tire strategy, just give them the spot. It's it's Martinsville. It's not worth it. Look after your stuff. Did Hall just come to the lane? I think Hall just went to the lane, so that clears that out of the way. But it's about looking after your car. One guy, we just talked about him, Alex Link, how well he was doing so far this race. Guess who gets caught up in that caution? He got shuffled to the back. It's going to happen.
Yep, back in traffic. Kind of what we call the eye of the storm. So Tellier is going to be the leader when we go back green, but as mentioned, Alonso Chicano, former winner, going to pick up the stage victory and an extra playoff point. Let's see if we can talk with him real quickly before going back green, see if we can get a little bit of an inside information from a driver's point of view of what's gone down here tonight in the first stage at Martinsville. Hey, Alonso, it's Scott and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys. How you guys doing?
Well, man, we've been seeing a lot of hard racing out there here tonight at Martinsville, and this is only stage 1. You got that victory out in front in the clean air, kind of let all the mayhem take place behind you. Now you're going to have to deal with traffic pretty much for the first time tonight, so what's the strategy there?
Just try to stay clean. try to avoid everyone that's just acting like every lap is last lap, and just try to make it till the end, if that's
All right, man.
possible.
Going back green. We'll leave you with it.
All right, thank you guys.
So as Alonso Chicano goes back to work here.
That was a quick caution.
It was a very quick caution.
What are the benefits, right? Yeah, a lot of cautions, fine,
Can I
but
get
they're
a
really not all that long.
cleared? It says like.
So,
So Mike Tellier going to get us back under the green flag here. And of course, Tellier had not been to pit road since lap 50. So he's going to be a little bit of a deficit to some of these other guys behind him with fresh tires, including Braxton DeWeese, who was on pit road under that safety caution.
Chicano's dead. Chicano's dead. There's a caution. Was that Chris Smith, I think, in the barriers again?
And I think it's Grant. Well, no, Grant's on pit road.
It's Blaine Woodruff. That is a big hit. Oh, he collects the outside wall and then just gets loose and drives it down to the inside wall. I think he's done. He is Dunsky.
Caution flies for the 13th time here tonight. We had just gotten back green to start this second stage, and just to kind of give a little bit of clarification as well, as far as seeing some of these restarts being double file, some of these restarts being single file. If it's double file, it means that we've gone at least 2 laps under green flag conditions. If a caution comes out, like in this case, 1 or 2 laps after a restart, it then is a single file restart. Then
Just
off of turn 4.
Somebody, you might have dropped Alonso Chicano back into the wrong Discord channel. Oh, it happens. We're trying to watch racing. He's trying to get back to racing. Alonso's just in there like, oh, hey guys, you guys aren't my team.
Do we know which room we need to move him into?
I think Stipe's on it. Don't worry too much, man.
All right.
That's a funny little mistake, though. Like, it's a weird one.
Man, it happens. Technology is a beautiful thing. Technology is a beautiful thing. Human mistakes, human frailty is a beautiful thing.
And where technology
it's
and humans meet, it's great, isn't it?
Bad things happen.
Bad things happen, but you look at some of the glitches, you're like, I don't know how that happened, but it's staying.
Success rate of 50% of 90% of the time. You do the math. So as the caution comes out here again on the 13th time here at Martinsville, right now we have 11 cars that are on the lead lap. Alex Link is the last of those. I think Tristan Mayer is going to be the lucky dog here under this caution flag, putting 12 drivers back on the lead lap.
Link stayed on the lead lap. Oh man, good for him. I was just actually having a look through my stint analyzer. Do you want to know who has been the most consistent, the fastest driver across this tonight? Across the longest stints?
From the longest stints, I'm going to say, just based off of what I've seen, I'm going to say probably that 73 Ibushi.
Ooh, no, it's actually Alex Link. So 70 lap average, 45 lap average, 30 lap average, 20 lap average, and 15 lap average. Alex Link has got the fastest average time. Now, the shorter ones could be down to when he pit. But the longer one, that 70 lap average, there's only a few guys with a 70 lap average in terms of times, and he is fastest by a 10th over Tristan Mayer. So 70 lap average, Alex Link, Tristan Mayer, David Durand, Alonso Chicano. That's your top 4. And then Bushi's in 5th.
Well, it has been one of those nights. Especially for me. Because I talked about Drew Ashley early in this race. He spun on a restart immediately after I talked about him. Finished out of the race in 25th. And then I was talking about 18. We were on board with him. He spun it off of turn 4. We were riding on board, and we just talked with our stage 1 winner. I move him down to the wrong team room, and Alonso Chicano has now gone to the garage area after getting involved in this wreck. So, yeah, Martinsville and I apparently do not mix.
Cam Caldwell is another one that's got a fast average as well. So he was quick. Basically, all of the lap averages that Alex Link didn't have, they belong to Cam Caldwell. Go figure that out.
I'm trying to figure that one out. It's not working. Brain has stopped. Anyway, oh, we got a spinner off of 4. I don't know if the caution's going to come out. He didn't completely loop it. He got on the brakes. I think he's continued on. That was the 94 of Braden Carroll, and we do indeed stay under the green flag as battle is on for the race lead. Braxton DeWeese has gotten to the inside of Mike Tellier, trying to take the lead for the first time here tonight. It's a 3-car.
Yeah, and you got to remember that Mike Tellier last pit on lap 50, so that rubber, we've had a few 5 to 10 lap green flag runs, his tires are going to be a little bit more worn. A little bit. You don't lose a heap of time here at Martinsville. But Tellier's going to be a lot lighter in terms of fuel as well. Braxton DeWeese would have got down. I don't know if he would have taken a fresh set of rubber. He may have just left those tires on. Given the number of tire sets that are available this evening, I think he might have taken an extra set because he's just like, okay, I've got tires, I've got pace. So DeWeese driving it up to the front. And a big shout out to everyone from the High Five Racing team. They're actually saying, look, Braxton DeWeese has got a new sponsor in the form of Paladin Home Improvements, so that's phenomenal to see him out here repping his new sponsor for the first time in such a great way. He's had pace all night. He's been clean all night. He's driven through the field safely. I don't think right now there's another driver in the field that's ticked all those boxes.
And his car looks relatively clean for having spent most of this race up to this point back in traffic. He's very safely and cautiously been able to move his way to the front.
He's been very, very patient, and he's been waiting for the gap to open up, and then he'll put his car in there, rather than forcing the gap to open up. Short track racing, a lot of the time, you want to be aggressive, right? They say it. You look at the professionals and how they do. We're not out here. We're not professionals. There's no way we can do that. We're close. We're close, but the professionals are professionals for a reason. So we got to stay that a little bit more patient, use our heads a little bit more. Oh, Mike Tellier gets loose and saves it. What a save, buddy. What a save. He's going to lose a couple spots. All of a sudden, Brian Cybery, we said has kept it clean. He's up there. And look at that. Keenan Massey, another spotless car, is right up here in the top 5 now.
Yeah, Massey spent most of the first half of the first stage outside of the top 15, now up inside of the top 5. He did drop from second, now back to fourth, and now into the clutches of Mike Tellier. He is off pit sequence with a number of these drivers up here inside of the top 3 as well. He's out there on 54-lap older tires. The other drivers out there about 20 to 25 laps up here inside of your podium positions. So obviously going to be losing a little bit of speed here on the long green flag run, but still a solid outing for him. And how about the 12 of Justin Belmonte? I mean, I talk about this, it seems, week after week, the fact that he is on a streak. The only driver so far this season that's finished inside the top 10 in every single start. Had that incident back on lap 2. He's now up here in the 6th position, and he's a guy that we seem to talk about week after week as well in the conversation of somebody who could find victory lane. He's still chasing that first victory of the season.
Yeah, look, when you look at drivers, who do you expect of the drivers to grab a win? I think Belmonte is very much in that equation. Given that we're watching Belmonte right now, I'm watching a lot of Mike Tellier. Remember, Tellier last pit on lap 50. I didn't think he took tires at that point either. I think this might be his first set of tires that's still in the car. You can see it. He is struggling for grip. He's getting loose on entry. He's getting loose on exit. Those are some worn bits of rubber, so he's going to need, I think, a new pair of shoes to get this. Oh, man, I need to stop talking about him because he's just making some mistakes right now.
Can't hook it down to the bottom. Caution is out. Brandon King in the 89 has looped it around off of turn number 4.
Would not surprise me if that's the end of the night for Brandon King. He's had a rough old going. The front end of that thing was missing earlier on, so look, might be time to put the 89 modified on pit lane and sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the rest of this one from pit road.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, though, as far as Brandon King is concerned, 16th in the point stands. And one thing that I've learned from short track racing is when we get closer to the end of the race, it's going to be that the cautions might be a little bit more frequent, the hits are going to be harder, and the garage area is going to start filling up. And no matter how bad your car looks, my opinion, run all the laps, because you never know. You may spend most of the first half of this race running outside of the top 20. Next thing you know, you have about 12 cars that are damaged off the pace and half of them in the garage area, and you're sitting up there, even though you may not be up to speed, sitting in a top 10 position at the end of the night.
Wasn't it a couple of weeks ago we were talking about Stipe and was it Cybery? Or was it Belmonte? That they were both in the garage area and they were waiting, and one of them was just sort of spotting for. I think it was
Stipe.
It was somebody. Was it Stipe? Yeah, it was definitely Stipe. Who was the other one? Was it Bushi? Was it Bushi or Cyber? It was somebody from that team.
I think it was Cyber. I think it was Cyber because Cyber's car had actually, I think, gotten completely demolished.
Yeah. But it was like 20 laps after Stipe's. So Stipe got back in the car later on and did enough laps that he was 1 lap ahead of him.
Picked up that position. You're right. Yep,
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened. That was, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was at our last broadcast back in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was. Ah, man, that was a great race. I love this series. I love these drivers. They've all got so much personality as well. You can talk to any of them. They're really, really easy to talk to, but they race hard. Like I said, I love this series. This series, honestly, I've broadcast a fair few series. Yeah, this is the one I like.
Update on Tim Hendry, who did not even start this race until the race leaders had hit lap 57. He's now worked his way up to 20th position. He's got about 10 laps before he would pass Cam Caldwell for 19th, who still sits on pit road getting damage repaired to his car. And then he would actually be next targeting Alonso Chicano for 18th place. So not a bad points night for a driver that missed the first 50-plus laps of this race.
Yeah, I don't know the book, you know. What are we talking about? Drivers getting back out from pit road? Something probably happened. Something come up right at the start of the race. I didn't see him join the server late, so I would say something's happened IRL. He's just had to jump back into it and do what he can. A couple drivers I'm actually looking at now are a lap down. Jacob Grant is one of those drivers who's now a lap. He's 2 laps down, so he is completely and utterly out of Lucky Dog contention. So if he's going to get him, one of the high 5 drivers is at the front of the field, and one of them is stuck 2 laps down with a car that looks relatively clean. And I know that Grant has had pace; he's been working his way through traffic slowly. So that's something to keep an eye on. If he can get 1 lap back, he might all of a sudden get both laps back. But you've got Chris Smith and Derek Schilling, who are both 1 lap down. So if we get another couple cautions and those are the only 2 cars, maybe he gets Lucky Dog after Lucky Dog. Who knows?
Well, if we get a couple cautions and if I keep off of his onboard camera, he'll be fine. Braxton DeWeese gets this back underway.
Oh, my word!
Bushi did not get going at all.
The entire field caught napping there. The entire field caught napping.
I couldn't tell
for Braxton DeWeese.
I couldn't tell if the 73 just didn't fire off or if he spun the tires because the whole outside line really got jacked up there. Oh, David Durand! Gonna loop it off of turn 4. Caution's gonna fly again.
Well, provided that nobody else goes a lap down, that's gonna be Derek Schilling getting his lap back. Then we're on to Chris Smith, and then it's Jacob Grant. So we're getting closer.
Yep. Never say never.
Oh, Tellier gets so lucky there. Mike Tellier just literally just got so lucky. Tellier coming to the pits.
And Dylan Stipe.
Yeah, it's Stipe. Oh man, they're utilizing their brakes in more than just the corners tonight. But I tell you what, so there's a few drivers. Pit strategists are starting to shuffle themselves about a bit. Massey is on the so he's the last one, the earliest one to pit that still hasn't come back down pit lane. So he's last pitted on lap 65. Cars that have since pit, Braxton DeWeese, Jeremy Bushi on lap 99. Cybery was 93. Belmonte was also 99. So that's that group of guys. Then since the stage, Alex Link pit on lap 109. Remember, he's been fast over extended periods of time, so keep your eyes on him. Since then, Tellier, King, Durand, all 125. Stipe has cycled back through the pit lane this caution. So I think this is a top-up. Again, another driver that's targeting that last stage, a track position in that last stage. So he gets fuel here. He's guaranteed to get to the end of this stage, and he's guaranteeing himself a slightly shorter stop. If there's another caution towards the back end of a stage, I grab tires then, because we've seen tires haven't been equivalent. It's just a fuel stop from Dylan Stipe, so he didn't take tires there. So I think you grab tires at the last caution of the stage. Probably about 15 to go, you grab fresh tires.
Now, we've only completed the first stage. We still got another stage to determine here at the completion of lap 200. We just saw Derek Schilling get his lap back. He's in the 12th position. Right now, realistically, it's looking like there are only 3 more drivers that have a shot with a couple of lucky dogs to get back in lead lap as well. Make that Chris Smith, Jacob Grant, and Nathan Hall, 13th through 15th. So, if we kind of look at this of 15 drivers still in the hunt for this victory, that's 5 drivers that will not get stage points. Does that make it easier or harder for these drivers in terms of pit strategy here in the second stage as to, do I come down pit road under this caution period or don't I?
At the back end of this, it depends when the caution flies. If the caution flies about 20 laps to go, I'm probably coming down and taking tires. That's long enough for the tires to really show enough of an advantage that I can probably grab a few more spots back at every single caution after that. So pretty much guaranteeing in the last stage you're gonna have to pit, even with a lot of cautions. So I'm targeting getting into the box before the back end of the stage, get a little bit of a run, grab a few spots back, see what you can sort of shake out of things, and then who knows. Alternatively, run to the end of the stage. It's a short track. Like, if you pit under green flag, you're dead. You can't pit under green flag. That much is true. I don't think we're gonna get enough of a green flag run here. So picking when you go to the box is gonna be, it's anyone's guess. It's absolutely anyone's guess from here.
It'll be another double file restart with Braxton DeWeese and Jeremy Bushi the front row. Brian Cyber, Keenan Massey in row 2. Alex Link and Justin Belmonte will make up row number 3 as we're back under the green flag. Whoa! Bushi tried to time it. Braxton DeWeese saw that, and he absolutely faked him out that time.
Yep, great restart. Look, I think it's a dangerous thing.
Alex Link back there was sideways, and the caution come out. Oh, he gets flipped up into the air after follow-up contact from Tristan Mayer.
And is that Dylan Stipe? We're just talking about how Stipe has run a clean race.
Oh my goodness, an airborne car at Martinsville. That's not something you hear of very often, as Alex Link was running inside the top 10 around the 7th position at the time. And complete pandemonium there off of turn 4.
Complete and utter destruction. Like, I'm gonna have to have a look at this one because I have a feeling that that Talia might have nudged him into this one.
Yeah, I think you're
right.
He's
all over the rear end.
There was some contact there. Link turns back up the track. Talia gets a little bit of added contact, and then I think Stipe gets into the back of Tristan Mayer, who then makes the contact with the 71 and sends him airborne.
That's a tough one because that one's actually caused by Cybery. Cybery is really, really slow on that restart. He's been slow on the last couple of restarts. He hasn't been going with DeWeese. He's been sort of going with Bushi. It's tough. It's tough. Alex had to back it up. And I don't think Mike Tellier was aware that he was being held up down on the inside lane. Ultimately, you've got the 89 of Brendan Q, who's quite heavily damaged up in the outside lane. So the outside lane's always going to be slower. So you just got to use that brain, a little bit of patience. Tellier's, it's a tough one because you take Cybery out of the equation. I think they don't make contact. I just don't think that Tellier was ready for Alex to check up that much. But that's pack racing, man. You got to drive to the conditions that are around you. And Tellier's driving based on the rear bumper of the car ahead of him. And the rear bumper of the car ahead of him is changing based on the car ahead of him. So what do? You're stuffed if you do, stuffed if you don't.
We're riding on board here with the 4 of Dylan Stipe. And that little extra kit right there to the back of the 17 is what propelled Mayer forward into the passenger side door of the 71 of Alex Link and tipped him onto his roof. Tristan Mayer has taken his car back to the garage area now. Alex Link has had to teleport his machine to pit road. They are attempting to repair his race car. And we are continuing to now see drivers either fall multiple laps down or bring their cars back to the garage area with Tristan Mayer now out of the race. A total of 7 drivers now sit in the infield.
Look, it's tough. It's tough. I'm just having a look. I think Hall gets into the back of Stipe. So Stipe definitely makes contact with the 17, but Nathan Hall's just not ready for people to stop. But from his point of view, he can't see the car that's parked, 90 degrees to the racetrack, and nobody's on the radio calling it out. He's just driving through there. He can see slow cars. He can't see stopped cars. So it's, by all means, I think Alex Link has got a reason to be a little bit upset with the way that one went on, but that's just racing. Like, unfortunately, he's just the unlucky recipient of a couple sets of contact of people just not being aware and not being able. I say not aware, I mean unable to see what's happening ahead of them.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. I mean, you look at these walls that are down here separating pit road from the racetrack, and while visibly here from a third-party standpoint, you can see that the cars themselves are a little bit higher than that wall as we get back green flag racing. When you're sitting down low in that race car, you basically can't see a car up ahead behind that wall, and it's a blind corner. When you go into turn 1 or into turn 3, you can't see what's happening in the following corner.
No, you can't. And Link is halfway through the corner. Nathan Hall's got no way to see him. He's a little bit further away from the wall, but he still hits the back of Dylan Stipe. Stipe and whoever was ahead of Stipe are both blocking his vision. It's just bad circumstances. It's short track racing. That's it. You're blind. There's absolutely nothing you can do except try and be a little bit more patient. But I think a few tempers are getting tested and a few drivers are getting a little bit impatient with specific other drivers. But that's short track racing. We don't come to short track racing to see engines overheat. We come to short track racing to see drivers overheat.
Absolutely. How about Brandon King? As mentioned, you don't necessarily have to win a beauty contest here tonight with your race car for it to be competitive. I mean, that car's got no front end, no nose, and it right now is currently holding down the 6th position.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Drivers I'm having a look at are doing a great job. Cyber is continuing to keep that thing clean as anything. He's struggling a little bit for tire wear right now. That's life, unfortunately. Bushi's doing a great job. He's driven himself back up to be in P2. Keenan Massey, remember, he pit on lap 65. Who's on the oldest tires in the field that we can guarantee? Massey. It's definitely Massey, because he's either on tires from the start of the race or tires from lap 65. One of the two, not both.
Keenan Massey's only made 2 starts this season in the last 2 races. He ran back at Atlanta, finished in 22nd place, and last time out at Bristol Dirt brought it home just outside the top 10 in 11th place. So he's not only looking for his first top 10, but also his first top 5 here in only 3 starts in the Clutch Drop Cup Series.
And not just that, first time on the podium. And look, he's working Cybery over, and we know what the quality of Cybery is as a driver. He's doing a great job. Like, there's nothing more you can ask for from tonight's performance. He's recognized that he's either going to stop a lot or stop very little. And by stopping very, very little, he's worked his way gradually forward, and he's been very patient, very opportunistic about keeping his car clean. And now he's got a quick car. He's in a great position. His tires are a little bit secondhand, but he's managing that fine. Braxton DeWeese, Jeremy Boucher starting to make a run away from him, but Cybery's happy to work there with him. You look at Cybery here. Cybery's not making any aggression in him whatsoever. He's just happy to just let him run in front because there's a gap behind him. As soon as some of those cars as soon as he starts to see the sector times come back towards him, yeah, there's no reason. The instant that they start coming back towards him is Belmonte. Belmonte's probably just going to work with him. Actually, Cybery gets aggressive right now.
I think the 47, I don't know if he missed the corner or he just took it wide off of turn number 2, but it certainly opened the door for Brian Cyber to stick his nose in there to try and move into the 3rd position. Whoa! Had to get on the brakes there, you saw, as caution is out. It's going to be Derek Schilling in the 69. Turn 4 has claimed another spinner.
Is contact? No, Schilling was out in his own. Gets loose, tries to correct it, overcorrects it, outside barrier, back in front of the 72. So that is unfortunate. Tim Hendry's just out there turning laps, trying to get back in front of a couple specific drivers. And well, look, Hendry at this stage, he's going to get Woodruff. He's going to get Tristan Mayer has left and gone back to the garage. He's going to get potentially Braden Carroll. So he's actually going to pick up a lot of spots here. There could be a top 15 on the cards for Tim Hendry just for showing up and just turning laps in the background.
Only over 50 laps down and a top 15 can only happen at Martinsville as Hendry has not even come down pit road. So, he did have the hit there with the front end. Didn't look too bad. So I don't think he'll necessarily have to come down pit road here and get any repairs done. We'll follow up on that, though, as Dylan Stipe back down pit road had that front-end damage from an earlier incident. He is right now running in 10th place, and Derek Schilling, the good news and the bad news. The good news is there were only 10 drivers on the lead lap at the time that caution came out. So that was the furthest he could drop back. The bad news is he was running competitively in the 8th position and lost a few positions. So it lost him some track position, but he's still inside of the top 10, as you just saw there. Chris Smith go around and get his lap back as the lucky dog. So it looks like 11 drivers will be on the lead lap when we go back green.
Well, now Jacob Grant's gotten his lap back too here, so he's back to 1 lap down. So somebody would have lost a lap in the middle of that, which has prevented him, which is probably Smith. But Grant will be the next recipient of the lucky dog, and he's fighting nobody at the 1 lap down position. So he's just waiting for the next caution. So if you are in Jacob Grant's shoes, I would have pit under this caution. Grab fresh tires, get everything going. Basically, prep yourself for that next caution, right? But then again, you can just pit next caution. Who knows? Both are fine. Both work, right? But if you don't want to come down pit road next caution, get ahead of those. Well, you're going to be end of the queue anyway. But you got options. Give yourself options.
Yeah, and we saw a number of drivers like to come down pit road at the halfway point of the first stage, around lap 50. This would theoretically, with the time of this caution, be around the halfway point of the second stage, about 150 laps in to the 200 laps before we reach the conclusion of stage 2 and head into our final stage, 125 laps in length. Right now, for your top 10 that are all on the lead lap, it's Braxton DeWeese, the race leader. Jeremy Bouchy looking for win number 3 on the year. He is second. Keenan Massey and Brian Sybrey in third and fourth, with Justin Belmonte now up to fifth. Brandon King is sixth. David Durand in seventh. Mike Tellier eighth. Chris Smith in ninth. And Dylan Stipe in 10th. And, the funny thing is, if we're looking at all of these drivers, with the possible exception of the 3, the 73, and the 47, you look back through the entire rest of the field, every single one of these drivers have dealt with something here tonight, whether it be some contact in a wreck, a spin. They've had to overcome some kind of adversity here this evening.
But, look at where these guys with clean cars are now. They're right up the front. They've got fastest cars out on track. I'm looking at Belmonte. I mean, you make that car a little bit less bent, all of a sudden he's up there the whole night long, and his night has been a lot easier. David Durand's, there's a couple crinkles in it, but it's not looking too bad. But then again, he's got to get past Brandon King. So a couple things I'm noting on this restart. Sybrey didn't get by Massey. So now he gets shuffled back to the outside. Now he's going to be vulnerable to Justin Belmonte. So keep your eyes on that one. I think that's going to be where our next caution comes from.
He settled things out around the 7th position, 3 wide, a couple of corners there, as Brandon King was not able to really get a decent jump. Mike Tellier went up the middle, and I think that might have been Dylan Stipe in the 4 that was down on the inside line.
There's the 3 wide, Stipe just backed out of it. Stipe completely and utterly recognized, I do not want to be 3 wide, and said, no thank you.
Stipe right now running in that 9th position, still on the lead lap, and it looks like they actually fixed the front end of the nose. That front end was missing when he had that contact into the back of, I believe it was Nathan Hall earlier on in this race. I'm sorry, that was actually Tristan Mayer, but they have actually put that nose back on his Ford Mustang.
There's going to be trouble for Derek Schilling. I think he's going to lose another lap here. The leader's going to... This is actually big trouble for everyone here, because Derek Schilling is going to be just pile drived into the back of things right now, so he's going to be got to be a little bit careful. So I think he went to pit lane. Did he go to pit lane?
No, he's still up there right now. He's mired in between 3rd place Bouchy and 4th place Belmonte. Now, he is running up there on the top of the racetrack, letting drivers on by. The two things that worry me, number one, a lot of the drivers that we've seen spin off of turn 4 have been running up in that second groove. Oh, Massey overdrove the corner there, as Bouchy's going to cross him over and take the runner-up spot. The second thing that I've noticed is a couple of drivers have run really wide off of turn 4 and kind of brushed the outside wall, but it's been enough to spin their race cars around.
Yeah, they're going to be really careful. Mike Tellier just said on the radio that he's starting to get really, really loose as well, so keep your eyes on him. He's going to start falling through. Remember, we talked about his short-run pace, but not necessarily that long-run pace. It looks like the car that he's got tonight's very, very loose on corner exit. Right now, Sybrey's been shuffled, and I don't think he's very, very happy about that. Admittedly, we get another caution right now. He's in the 5th spot to be down the inside, but it's to do with Bouchy, I think it was, up in the 2nd spot, just getting horrible restarts. His restarts have been just horrifically bad.
They really have. He has not fired off, but it seems like once we get through 2 corners that car then all of a sudden seems to pick up. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a difference in lower gear ratio between himself and Braxton DeWeese, where DeWeese gets the advantage in the first 200 to 300 feet, and then the 73 is able to equalize him once he gets up to maybe second or third gear.
I think it's starting in different gears. I think DeWeese is starting in second, and I have a feeling the Bushi's starting in third. Now, the benefit is Bushi's looking after his rear tires a little bit more. Less wheel spin, less ability to flip the car around. Look, he's lucky that he hasn't been pile drived in, because everyone's now aware of it, right? The first couple times he does it, everybody else just goes, what the leader's going? What are you doing? You know, you can't pass on the inside, so... Look, it's difficult. Massey's holding up this next little bunch, so Belmonte's going to be keen to get by, but I think Massey's just doing a great job. He's just running his line. He's not trying to block. He's not trying to open up the inside as well. He's basically saying to Belmonte, look, if you're going to run and you're there, let's go. I'm not going to fight it, which has been his race so far, and it's worked he's leveraged that all the way home. As I talk about it, he gets very loose off of 3 and 4.
I'll tell you why he's getting loose. He actually had that happen a couple of laps ago, too, because he's theoretically run an entire stage on the set of tires underneath him. He has now been out there for over 100 laps on this set of tires.
He's still doing fine, though.
He is.
Look, I mean, I'll probably just actually go ahead and have a look at his lap pace, because
he ran
he's probably now starting...
He only ran 1/100th slower than Braxton DeWeese that last lap.
I mean, the last lap was a 21.193, but yeah, 20.190. So the pace is still there. Like, you're only losing a couple of tenths. Yeah, your confidence in the car is probably quite shaken, but and definitely readjusting once he gets a fresh set on is going to be a question mark. But he's got so many sets left at the back end of this race. He can just basically see what's going on and just throw sets of tires at this thing and see what happens. Cybery is now getting loose to try to hunt him down. Cybery, he knows this. I'm going to say it, but he already knows this. He's good enough of a driver. Just back up your entry a little bit more, turn the car earlier into one of the turns, and get a huge run off, enough so that you can get down the inside of him. And as soon as you do that, Massey's going to be gone. And he knows it. Massey's not going to fight for it.
I think I'm kind of thinking about right now, just looking at the drivers that we have currently off the lead lap, Jacob Grant in 11th -1, Nathan Hall, Derek Schilling, 2 laps down in 12th and 13th. I mean, we're only going to have at maximum maybe 14 cars on the lead lap in the closing stages of this race, and I kind of wonder if now tire conservation could be a plus for some of these drivers, saving those extra sets, because I'm not necessarily certain what the difference would be, let's say, of 70 lap old tires to fresh tires. See Massey a little wide there in 1 and 2. But you know, if you end up having a caution or a couple of cautions come out in the latter stages of this race, and you've still got 2 sets that are sitting down there on pit road for you, is it worth coming down, giving up spots, falling back to around 9th or 10th? Can you make up those spots with fresh tires, depending on the number of laps that are left in the race?
Depending on the driver, yes. Braxton DeWeese has done it phenomenally. So if you're able to do what he's doing, I think Massey's tires, I think he's gonna get a couple lap warning before his tires go very, very shortly, because he just can't get the car to turn anymore. It's done, baby. Come down to pit road. He's dead. There's the caution. Massey's saved. Massey's saved.
Absolutely saved him, because you don't want to come down pit road at Martinsville under green. You're going to lose a lap, and Brandon King's spin absolutely was a godsend for the 47.
Brandon King. Oh, what a horrid night he's having. But I tell you what, guess who gets back on the lead lap? Guess who?
15 of Jacob Grant. 11 cars will be on the lead lap on this next restart. This incident for Brandon King was not in the usual culprit place of turn 4. Instead, it was over here in turn 1. Actually started before he even got to turn 1. Whoa! Jacob Grant, the lucky dog driver, almost got a piece of it.
Yeah, that would have ruined his lucky dog drive. So, but anyway, Massey says, yes, please, 4 tires. Whew, these things are a little bit used. I wouldn't go offering them up. We're not going to reuse those things at all tonight. They're done. They've done their job, and they've done their job very, very well. So I actually wonder if he's not still on fresh tires from the start of the race. He's been up the front that long. Oh, Grant under caution! Woo! I think he just had a brown pants moment. Code Brown.
He did.
Big Code Brown.
Just took the onboard with him. He'd already had that near spin, so this time I didn't jinx him. We were able to utilize his onboard camera. But man, I mean, that could have been detrimental in more ways than one.
Why? Look, I get it. You got the lucky dog, but why are you hammering tonging it all the way back up to the lead lap? Cruz, look after them tires, dude. Like, that's maybe we're getting the benefit here is maybe we're actually getting a little bit of an insight into Jacob Grant. He's an aggressive driver by the sounds of things. By the look of that, he just wants to go fast. That's it. Only fast, no slow. So, if it works for him.
Well, he is
maybe actually
winless this season, but he does have 1 top 5, 4 top 10s, and 6th in the overall standings, the driver of the 18.
Well, he's back on the lead lap. I think the reason he's actually burning up those tires is because he's about to grab 4.
Yep.
So
just came down pit road.
They didn't jack up. Nope, they jacked up the car. Yeah, he's taking 4. All right, makes sense. Okay.
You know, there's always a
method
to the madness. So 11 drivers will be on the lead lap of 16 drivers running. Tim Hendry is about 26 laps away from moving up to 16th position.
We just love that, right? That's the story of the night. Tim Hendry shows up 50 laps down. I'm good. I'm going to make this work.
Happens so many times, too, where you'll have that one driver that will spend 45 minutes on pit road after a blown engine, getting that engine repaired or something, and you see him down there outside the top 20. Next thing you know, in the closing stages, he's battling for a top 10 spot, and you're thinking, what just happened?
He's actually on pit road and has been for the last 90 seconds, but I feel like that's a bathroom break, or he's dealing with kids or something. Basically, he's just said, look, whatever happens, I'm just going to keep trying to turn laps. Like, he doesn't really matter. Anyway, back to green. Here we go. Braxton DeWeese doing his usual. Clear by the time he gets to the start-finish line. But better start that time for Bushi.
And it also was a better start for Cybery. Cybery had a clean entrance into turn 1 on the high side of Justin Belmonte, so not getting wadded up this time. We'll see if that's going to allow him to be able to get up here and get in the conversation for this race lead, as so far it has been all Braxton DeWeese here in stage 2. Yeah,
it has been the Braxton DeWeese show, and Jeremy Bushi's been running the side show, trying to at least get some laughs out of the hilariously bad restarts. But look, no, he's suddenly found it. Oh, is that Schilling? Is that the 55?
That's Smith. 55.
He'll be done. He's impaled in the wall. He tried to back it up and get it out of there. This could play in a Massey's favor. What did I say? 15 laps to the end of a stage. If you're not looking for stage points, now's the time to go down pit road. Boucher had a look at it. Cybery had a look at it. King had a look at it. None of them, no takers.
See what happened to Chris Smith, and this is a tough break for Chris Smith in more ways than one. Not only does he spin, get a little bit more damage on his number 55, but he would have been the lucky dog if the caution had come out. Unfortunately, he was the caution, so he will not be receiving the lucky dog under this yellow. I believe it's actually going to be the 69 of Derek Schilling, who will get back to -1. He'll be the recipient of the free pass under this 19th caution of the night.
Yep. And there he goes. That's it, the free pass. What are your plans for the week, Seth? What are you chilling out and doing this week? What's on?
I don't know about this week, but I actually found out this weekend I'm going to be for the first time going to the local short track of Fonda Speedways, so looking forward to that.
I'm taking part in the Nürburgring Endurance Championship, the 4 hours.
You're a braver man than I am.
Well, I ran 510 laps. 510 corners the other night with 1 incident point. So, and then I started pushing it, and all of a sudden 20 popped up over the next 20 minutes. So,
I ran my very first lap at Nürburgring when I was 24 years old. By the time I completed the first lap, I was 26. So I said never again.
Oh man, look, the Scott Rankin School of Hard Knocks will have you any day of the week, buddy.
Oh, man, I'd say sign me up, coach, but I know what I'd be in for. Hate that track with a passion. Anyway, gonna be, I think, 14 laps here. Nope, caution lights are not going to agree with me, so we're gonna run another lap of pacing here, so probably 13 lap shootout here for this second stage. And right now, as you mentioned, Keenan Massey is the guy to kind of watch here to maybe make a late charge. But Keenan Massey's only made 2 starts this season. So I have to wonder just how aggressive he's going to be. I mean, this is a guy that was out there on over 100 lap tires. So I'm wondering if he still would be in tire conservation here, not really forcing the issue to try and pick up a stage win, because it wouldn't really benefit him as far as a playoff position. He's only got 2 starts. He's outside of the top 25 in the overall point standings. I think right now he is laser focused on that final lap.
Well, yeah, but he can buy himself some track position here. So, for the next stage, I would definitely, if something's happening, just let it go. Just be smooth on those tires. Because the other thing is, you want to phase them in gradually, right? The most damage that you can put on the tires is if you go aggressive whilst they're cold. So he's got a cold set here. If he just brings them up to temperature, he might leave a little bit more rubber in the tank. But then again, like you said, he's got sets in the bank. Why does he need to push right now? He doesn't. Deweese, great restart once again. Belmonte gets clear, and that outside lane is just checking up.
Bushi again, very
Bushi.
slow, very, very slow restart for him. He holds up Ryan Cybery, his teammate there on the outside line, and boy, Bushi was on the outside of the front row, just dropped all the way back to the fifth. Brandon King! And caution is going to fly again. Well, I was going to bring up the fact that if we hadn't had a caution here in the final 12 laps of Stage 2, everybody on the lead lap was guaranteed some stage points because only 10 drivers were on the lead lap. Derek Schilling now is going to be back on the lead lap, so there'll be 11 drivers vying for stage points here.
Nathan Halls. So let's talk about the drivers that are only a couple of laps down now. So you've got Derek Schilling at 1, so he's going to get the lucky dog. I don't think he filed into that one, so I think he's actually safe. I think he does get the lucky dog. Nathan Hall is at 2. Chris Smith is at 2. So after this caution, those 2 drivers are actually racing up for the lucky dog. Whoever gets the first one gets the second one, guaranteed. And we're only, what? We're going to be 8 laps away from a stage. So one of these guys is going to get the lucky dog. So that's the guarantee. Alex Link is still out there, and theoretically still in contention to get enough lucky dogs to get himself back on the lead lap. So don't count him out just yet either.
Braden Carroll, we were on board him in the 94, made a little bit of contact with the front end of his machine to Brandon King's 89. And now it's going to be less than 10 to go for the shootout here in this second stage. Braxton Deweese, though, right now, looking at the drivers back behind him that have come to pit road, I'm only seeing, 3, 4, maybe 5 max that have been to pit road previously that might stay out when he comes to pit road and gain some track position on him. Most of the other drivers like Belmonte, Jeremy Bushi, Brian Cybery, they're on the same sequence as he is.
Hang on, you said that Cybery just come to pit lane. I think this is the right call from Cybery because he's not gaining anything by being out there right now. So grab some track position. So the drivers I'm looking at that have been making moves is Telia. Telia went to the lane on 139. We just saw Massey was in the lane on 177, so under that last caution. So he's happy with that. I actually kind of want to chat to him about what his tires were at when he came to pit road, because they did not look happy at all. But look, there's a few drivers here that I think are about to get shaken up a little bit. Dylan Stipe, lap 155, so he may not necessarily come to pit road. David Durand, 125. So let's actually go from the front back. So Braxton Deweese, Justin Belmonte, top 2. 99 was their last pit, the end of the last stage. Mike Telia, 139. Jeremy Bushi, 99. So he's starting to fall off in terms of the lap 99 guys. Massey's 177. Dylan Stipe, 155. David Durand, 125. So the guys that should be moving through this bunch, that actually, with those tires and the differential of those tires, Massey might actually make a whole bunch of ground here. I actually think that Cybery has caught a trick here.
One thing that he's done is he's not got himself stuck behind the 73 for this restart, which has really been his Achilles heel for the last couple of restarts, and we'll see if it's going to pan out into his favor here, as it's going to be 6 laps remaining here in the first stage. Look at Mike Tellier driving it deep to the inside on Belmonte, but he wasn't able to make it work. Tries to stay to the left rear quarter panel, can't do it off of turn 2.
Look at Massey making moves on that restart. He's up to P4. He only just pitted. Massey, if this stage caution free, Massey's got a shot at this this stage win.
And he used the second groove to get around Jeremy Bushi for that 4th position. So apparently enough grip has been laid down in that second line for it to actually work now when the fresh tires grip it.
Belmonte's not going to let Tellier pass. But then again, like you said, Tellier's going to have a crack at that second groove. And Massey's going to have even more grip than Tellier will. So there's a few questions being asked here. I'll tell you what, some of these drivers might actually start to settle in now. Massey's not necessarily out and out much quicker. Oh, this works in Massey's favor. If Belmonte looks strong off 3 and 4, Tellier looks strong off 1 and 2. So this isn't decided. Braxton Deweese just says, all right, thanks guys. I'm gonna just check out now. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's gone. But right now for Massey, I mean, it's kind of
Where
a difficult situation. Yeah, well, not only that, but where? Yeah, exactly, because the track's blocked up. Right through Mike Tellier, and Belmonte's up into the wall as well. Caution is going to fly nearing the end of stage 2.
I tell you what, Tellier just said on the radio, I got pushed from behind. He did. He actually did. Contact was made, but that was just like, I think if you're in Massey's shoes, you don't expect the crisscross. And that gap there, it's just big enough for a car to fit down. I don't think that there's any way that Massey can expect him to go across, because the gap is basically 1 car length. Just exactly 1 car length. And Massey gets a little bit of a run, because he's on better tires than Tellier is. Tellier's also been shuffled a little bit wider, so Tellier's not got the optimal cornering line here. Belmonte is slower because he's on older tires. Like, race control, figure that one out. Whose fault is that? I don't think that's anyone's fault. Massey, okay, let's talk about pit stop takers. Braxton Deweese, I think great. Yep, 99. He's done his 90 laps on these tires. Picks up himself a stage win. Yeah, I think the right call. Massey comes back down pit lane. Is this a fill up for Massey?
Is this, well, I'm wondering, is this a fill up, or is this possibly taking responsibility for the caution coming out and serving a possible end of the line penalty?
No, there's no way it's an end of line penalty. No way. There's no way. Oh, he took tires. Massey took tires.
Wow. He was only out there for, what, 16, 17 laps on that set?
He wants to guarantee that he's on the same level of rubber as everyone else around him. Fair enough.
Well, he would have, I believe, an extra set over most of these drivers based on the fact that he had that really long stint on what I assume was his 2nd set of tires.
Well, you can only assume, right?
Right, exactly.
Bushi jumps him in the pit stop. Did he?
Bushi's back down, or well, he was on pit road a lap ago. He pitted a lap after.
He's got a speeding penalty. He's getting an end of line.
Monty's down pit road again in the 12. The stage caution is now going to put Nathan Hall to 1 lap down. He was 2 laps down prior to that caution coming out. So another caution, we would have 12 drivers back on the lead lap, and Jacob Grant in the 18, after all, that is now going to be the race leader. That's right, Jacob Grant, the driver who we were talking about as a lap down machine about 20 laps ago.
Okay, let's talk about pit strategies here. What I said, pitting inside that last 20 before the end of that stage, 120 laps to go. We've got Cybery, who pit on lap 192. Not quite as fresh a tires as Deweese and Massey, who both pit on lap 199. Schilling is up here. He's on lap 155 was his pit stop. So he's going to be slow because he's down RPMs. Jacob Grant, lap 179. 20 to go on that stage. But remember, tires aren't worth as much here. Braxton's crawled all over the rear of that Cyber machine on that restart too. What a get away by Jacob Grant. Are we going to be 3 wide? Oh!
Derek Schilling overdrove the corner. You saw the tire smoke. David Durand has spun around off of turn 2. I think Dylan Stipe also was halfway around over in the middle of turns 1 and 2, and you just kind of saw that one coming. The tire smoke coming from under the 69, those front tires locking up. No way he was going to make that corner, and unfortunately for Brian Cybery, he was the car on the outside.
That's
69 was on 48 lap old tires at the time.
That's just a lack of recognition of the spot that he's in. Man.
I gotta wonder, and this is just a possible speculation, we saw that move of potential 3 wide with Massey in the 47. Do you think maybe that was a bit of a distraction for Schilling? He looked back at that, wondering if the 47 was going to actually stay down there to make the move on him, and it kind of forced him to miss his braking zone into turn 1.
Maybe, but like, that's on Derek. Like, sure, but even if you're watching your mirror, your primary concern is making the corner. This actually allows the 28 machine and Nathan Hall back on the lead lap as well, so there's that benefit. But Schilling has just, I think Cybery has grabbed the best strategy possible out of all of these guys. He put himself right back up at the front on the start of the last stage, you know, the run to the end, and Schilling has just ripped that out from underneath him. That's, oh man, a heart goes out to Cybery. Cybery's driven a great race, kept the car clean, and he's just gotten involved in somebody else's accident. Schilling was always, I think, gonna go around there. I don't think there's any way that he pulls that car up and he makes that corner.
And you saw when we looked at one of those camera angles, it was that left front especially that was locked up on the 69, and it just never turned when he went into the corner. Just went straight, and as Cybery turned left to rotate through the center, that's where the contact was made. Now, for Brian Cybery, it obviously is going to put him at a bit of a disadvantage as far as tire wear. That's certainly going to wear those tires down quite a bit, put a little bit of extra heat that he didn't want into them, but he didn't really hit anything. So, in terms of damage control, he might still be okay.
Well, it's only the rear of the car that's gotten damaged in terms of Cybery. So, in terms of engine RPM, horsepower, and all that, he's not down at all. Maybe a little bit of aero damage, but it's short track racing. You don't get a huge deal of aero here anyway. Aero assistance, it's all sort of suspension and roll bar setups and those sorts of things. You're looking for mechanical forms of grip. So, Jacob Grant just sits out in front here and he says, "Hey, keep going, guys. You guys just keep doing that. I am loving life. Yes, please."
It'll be a single file restart this time, and so that might play advantage to Braxton DeWeese. He won't be boxed in on this restart, as he'll restart behind Schilling, Massey, and race leader Jacob Grant. As you mentioned, Nathan Hall back in the lead lap. David Durand lost a lap doing repairs under this caution period, so he'll hope for a quick yellow to get him back on the lead lap. 11 drivers currently on the lead lap of 16 that are running.
I was just about to say, Grant went early. DeWeese and Schilling both recognized it, and Massey did not. So DeWeese is going to shuffle his way past Massey as soon as he possibly can. Schilling's getting shuffled back slowly. Mike Tellier will dive down the inside here. Just a difference in the grip. He's on really, really old tires, and I just hope that Schilling is aware of the race scenarios of everyone around him. Because if he doesn't, there's a few cars behind him, like Bouchy, who's coming up now. Brendan King is just in there behind him, so he'll have a really good race with Brendan King, because King and him kind of in the same sort of tire and engine condition, but he's just going to be aware of a few of those other drivers.
That's kind of interesting, too, because right now, up inside your top 3, you've got 3 drivers that are communicating in High Five Racing's team room. There's some things you tell your teammates, there's some things you don't. In terms of here tonight, you don't tell them where your acceleration point's going to be for these restarts.
Sometimes you do. Like, you want to set them up to get towards the front because you want to net those team points. So sometimes you do communicate that. And I think on that restart, Braxton DeWeese was definitely clued on to when they were going. But look, I'm going to look out through the field tonight and you say, who's driven a phenomenal race? Who's done everything they needed to do? Look at Keenan Massey. At any stage during this race, I don't think you could have said he has had one of the fastest cars on track. He's been really, really quick, etc., etc., etc. But look where he's sitting, man. Sometimes you just got to keep a clean car, keep a level head, keep rubber underneath you, and play the pit strategy right. And he's done that all perfectly. Track position means everything in a short track.
And now he's being hounded by Braxton DeWeese for second place. There is a equalization of tires under both these machines. Both these drivers last on pit road around lap 200, the completion of our second stage. They have about a 20-lap advantage over Jacob Grant as far as tires, so we'll see how patient Braxton's going to be with the 47, and looks like not patient at all. There you see that indication that you talked about early in the race, pulling to the inside, saying, hey, I'm here, I'm making the move, and 47's going to give him that room through 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a feature all night, like I said, of Keenan Massey's driving. He's recognized when somebody wants to move. He's just given him that little bit of extra space and said, yeah, look, I'm not as fast as you. I'm going to defend, but the instant that you get down there, I'm just going to yield. I'm going to give you the space. I'm going to make sure that you have the space to run, and this is what you need to do as a driver. You look after you and your machinery first and foremost, like I talked about Cybery. Cybery's been around a lot of accidents tonight, but he's recognized when he needs to get out of it, when he needs to look after the car, and it takes 2 to tango, and he's done a great job of doing that.
Brian Cybery right now. Whoa! Contact there as Bushi pushes the 47 up the track off of turn 4. Now he'll go for the 3rd position, but now Cybery finds himself mired back in the 10th position. So, you were talking about how the 33 was in the catbird seat prior to that spin, bringing out the latest yellow. Now with where he's situated, how does the strategy change for Cybery?
Push. I think push as hard as you possibly can. Grab as many spots as early as you possibly can, and then start to read it. Because if these first couple stages have told us anything, the cautions aren't over yet. There's another caution coming at some stage. When does it come? Who knows? Schilling needs to be careful around Cybery again. I think Cybery will be happy to see him in the rearview mirror this time.
There is the 69 running now behind the 33, who sets his sights now on 8th place Justin Belmonte. See back there the 24 of David Durand. As we are right now under a green flag run, he'd like to see another caution come out, get himself back on the lead lap, and we have a battle brewing for 6th. Dylan Stipe is reeling in Brandon King.
Ooh, Belmonte actually just got a little wide on corner entry to 1 and 2, so Cybery's made his way past him. Brandon King, he said. The good news is, and one of the benefits of short track racing is there's always going to be battles going up and down the field. Why? Because everyone's only a couple seconds away. So, gets by him. King's doing a great job. I think Stipe's still trying to recover that car from that contact he had earlier. Just nothing he can do. Another one of those incidents, getting involved in somebody else's incident. Oh well, such is life. But Stipe was in championship contention last season. He drove an amazing race, and he got into the championship 4 on points, or 16 on points? So yes. He knows where to pick up the points, and tonight is one of those races where you just say, yep, hold back, just pick up points, just keep the car clean, and he's done that phenomenally. And caution comes out, and this might save Derek Schilling from going a lap down.
Nathan Hall would be the first driver that Braxton and there's the caution that you were just talking about. And
we get mixed up.
Not certain who it was that brought the caution out.
Yeah, me either. I saw the 72 going low, so Tim Hendry, and he was slow, so...
See if we can find out.
Yeah, it was Hendry.
It was
Hendry.
Hendry had just moved his way up a couple of laps ago into the 16th position, was battling with the 94 of Braden Carroll. That's 15th and 16th place. Probably just trying to find someone to battle here on the racetrack, and he made that pass on Carroll cleanly, and then the thing just starts stepping out on him, entering into turn 2 onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, he gets past him, starts picking up the throttle, and such is life. Sometimes you think you've got everything all grouped up, and you think you've got your life wheels underneath you, and sometimes you attempt to grab that accelerator, go buy a new house or something, and life snaps away from you, right?
Close call there for Nathan Hall in the 28. He is the lucky dog here under this caution. See if he did get a piece or not. It was certainly close.
Was it Hall? David Duran got the lucky dog, sorry.
Well, that's right.
How did he go a lap down? That's
he went a lap down under the last caution. Extended stay on pit road, getting damage repaired. Nathan Hall was actually on the lead lap, had gotten the lucky dog under the last yellow flags. That's where I got that mixed up. And it looks like he kind of pulled a Braxton DeWeese earlier on when DeWeese avoided Alex Link on the front straightaway. I think Nathan Hall did the same there, narrowly avoiding the spinning 72 on the backstretch.
What happened to Jacob? Did Jacob Grant just pit? Yeah, he must have. Grant just pit. Because I was about to say, why is DeWeese in control of this field again? When did that happen? Yeah, so DeWeese stays out. So Grant is going to have the best run and tires from here. And the other thing is, Grant is guaranteed, 85 laps to get home. I think Jacob Grant just needs to save a tiny little bit of fuel here and there, be a little bit more cautious with the way he's moving through the field. So, interesting. We said that you're going to need a pit stop at some point to get home on this last stage, because 85 laps they said to a tank. So you're looking at 40 extra laps of fuel saving that you're going to save somewhere in this stint. Pitting now gives you just under 100 to home. So Grant and Cybery, I think, I know that Cybery's good at fuel saving. We've seen that from Cybery. I cast my mind back to, was it Texas? Where we saw him fuel save?
Yes,
and his teammate Bushi was just better?
No,
just
it was Las Vegas. Las Vegas where that happened.
Las Vegas. Yeah. No, Texas, Las Vegas. What's the difference? I'm an Aussie. Don't blame me for these things.
They both end. They both end in AS. So. Trying to find you some similarities. Trying to help you out here, Scott.
They're both in a desert. Like, right? It's hot. Everybody hates each other. Close enough.
They're both in areas where it's normal to have 100-degree weather.
Yeah, there you go.
Green flag set to come back out. Still over, or no, actually, correction. Now under 100 laps to go. As the green flag flies.
We're stacking up. We're stacking up.
Yeah, we are. Around the fourth place, Brandon King. Back to Dylan Stike. Jacob Grant's in that mix there. That's fresh tires trying to work his way back to the front.
Mike Tellier's in there as well. So the stack up was Dylan Stipe. Behind him, Jacob Grant, Mike Tellier. So Tellier's now got a lot more crinkling on the front end of that thing. So it's not going to be quite as fast. And the other thing to consider is that Tellier wants to get by Jacob Grant. He doesn't want to see him in front of him for too long. But Jacob Grant just gets clear of Dylan Stipe here. And now Tellier's going to get clear of him. So Tellier's run's going to be a little bit compromised until that happens. So he's going to have to bid adieu to him for maybe a couple laps until he can get resettled. And Cybery's right there as well. So Cybery's not past Dylan Stipe yet. So the guys I'm looking at for the race win right now is probably Grant, Tellier, and Cybery. I think we can't count DeWeese and Massey into this until they make their final stops.
Ooh, Tellier might have a run here on Jacob Grant because Grant got held up behind Brandon King. Indeed, he will go to the inside here, and he will get alongside coming off of turn 2.
Sends it down the inside. He's still, but you got to remember, he's got to get clear. Clears him on the mid corner. Grant's trying to pick up that throttle. Cyber is still not past Dylan Stipe either. Tellier is going to get through. Tellier is going to get to the inside of King. So Tellier, for my liking, currently has the effective race lead.
Tellier did a much better job getting around Brandon King than Jacob Grant. That's what kind of held Grant up, his inability to be able to time the pass perfectly around the 89, who is a little bit off the pace and obviously at a deficit in terms of the tires that were behind him with the 97 and the 18. And caution is out again. This time it's going to be the 71 of Alex Link. Looks like that might be up in turn 2.
I was just about to say, Alex Link's just been sitting there just waiting, and cars keep going one lap down, so he's never really been able to get the lucky dog to get any of those 4 laps back. Don't count him out yet. it's going to take a lot of cautions from here for him to get back onto the lead lap. But if things keep going his way, so what do we need? What, 7 cautions before 6 more cautions before he's back on the lead lap?
At this point, at this point now, it would be 6, because with this yellow flag coming out, it now puts Derek Schilling, who was the only car 1 lap down, back in the lead lap. So yeah, he needs 6 more cautions after this, and if nobody else falls a lap down of the 12 machines currently now on the lead lap.
I like this. So
back in the
have a
lead
look at the guys that are on pit road. Okay, so we got Telliers coming back down. So a lot of these guys are saying, I could keep fuel saving, or I can come back down pit road, and then it lessens the amount of fuel I have to save. So we are now 90 laps to the end. So they've got to save 5 laps to get home.
Telliers, Cybery, Stipe, and Belmonte, as well as Nathan Haller, those drivers on pit road here.
I think these guys have missed a trick. I think we're gonna get enough cautions for this to be this should be get home period from here. So I think Mike Tellier, even though Jacob Grant, right? He's a little bit further up in the field. He's 4th. He's effective 4th right now. So thumbs up. I've made a little bit of track position. Thumbs down. I have to fuel save. We were under a green flag there for what, 8 laps? That's 8 laps worth of fuel that he has to save over these guys. So I think any of those guys that came down pit road on that last caution, they are good.
So we'll see if it's actually going to be more of a fuel race than we originally expected here. Let's actually take the opportunity here as well, because we've run quite a bit of this race under caution periods, and we were remiss in not actually being able to talk with our Stage 2 winner, Braxton DeWeese. And since you weren't able to get a little bit of question there with our Stage 1 winner, Colano, I'm going to actually allow you to get the first question in here, as we're going to talk with our current race leader and our Stage 2 winner, Braxton DeWeese.
Braxton, you got us?
Yes, I do.
It's Scott and Seth up in the booth, buddy. It's been a pretty clear race for you most of the night up out in front. Good car, good setup. You're still hanging on to some tires, but you feel like there's a pit stop left in this thing yet?
Yeah, I feel like there can be another pit stop in this. It just depends on what your setup feels like right now, and what it feels like on the long run. It could favor you if, say, you pit now. It could potentially favor you. Or say if you pit in 20 laps or wait or whatnot, that could help you as well. So it's up in the air.
Restarts have been a godsend for you tonight. You've been really able to show a clean pair of heels. What are we're going to see another one from you here in a few moments?
Well, we're about to see.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you.
Green flag set to come back out here. 24th restart of the night, and talk about a WADA.
Massey, how did he hang that thing? How did he hang that thing? Grant was looking aggressive. Somebody back further in the pack did not hang on to that thing. And we got another caution.
71 again. Yep, 71 of Alex Link. Back-to-back cautions for his Toyota. This time it was off of turn 2.
Is he doing this intentionally to get the other drivers cleared on Lucky Dogs? I don't think so.
No. Actually, no, this was off of turn 4. And this was on that restart. Let's see what happens here. Oh! Actually, it was the 94 of Braden Carroll who may have spun the tires and spun down into the 71 of Alex Link. So while Link's car was the last one to leave the scene of the accident, it was the 94 that actually triggered the 25th caution of the night.
That was definitely an odd one. I'm going to have a look at that. Carroll gets sideways?
Yeah, he spun those tires, I think, up on that top side. Right on board with him, and watch right here. Car starts turning to the left, never got back straight.
I tell you what, have we got Mike with us? Hang on, I'll message him. No, it's Matt. It's Matthew. Matthew. Man, I'm having, like, the last 2 weeks, I haven't been able to talk. And people have been coming up to me, oh, hi, Scott. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, I've known you for 15 years. Why can't I remember your name?
Welcome to the club.
I don't know what it is, man. I haven't been sleeping. you ever get that feeling that you go to sleep and you wake up the next morning and you literally feel just as exhausted as when you went to sleep the night before?
Oh yeah.
That's been the last week for me. So I have been sitting down and trying to work, and I'm literally staring at spreadsheets with numbers in them all day because that's my job.
That sounds boring.
I'm looking at the numbers, I'm just like, I know that these numbers mean something. What is it? I've been through training, I've been in this job for 9 months now, I know these numbers mean something. What is it?
I would be asking that question every day. I think I proved this a couple of broadcasts ago where I couldn't calculate number of laps remaining, so... math not my strong suit.
Matt, you here? Mate, what do you make of the race so far?
Yes. It seems like a really expensive demolition derby, to be honest.
How much money, well, Team Luminary's no longer in this thing. Well, I mean, they are. They're here and there, but they're not as strong as they were last season. Sorry, what's up?
No. File for bankruptcy. We're done. We're done.
Luminary's done? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Luminary, the latest victim of Freddie May and Fannie Mac.
All these team kills.
What is your favorite song that your next favorite song that I can ruin for you now?
Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I'd prefer
Twinkle Twinkle Little.
I don't know, that sounded pretty good to me. You hit every note.
There's only what, 3 of them? 3, 4 of them?
I don't know. Hey Siri, how many notes in Twinkle Little Star? Siri's not talking to
Easter.
me.
Easter just recently, we was in the kitchen singing Hot Cross Buns, but like pretending that we were playing recorders that was completely on the attitude. My wife and I are weird.
Must
Green flag back in the air. We's gonna take the top spot into turns 1 and 2. Title's on for second. Jacob Grant looking to the inside of Keenan Massey and Jeremy Bushi. The thing about the 73, he's been up here all race long, up in the top 5 the entirety of this race. It just doesn't look like, though, he's got the car capable of winning this race. The highest he's been able to get is second place, but he hasn't been able to get to the back bumper of whoever the race leader has been.
Yeah, and he's always had other... The issue for Bushi, in my liking, is that he's constantly been fighting. If you have a look at Braxton DeWeese, how many of these restart laps have we seen him? He's broken away. He's 1.5 ahead now. You know, he's just sort of pushing that margin, and then he's out there on his own. He doesn't have to worry about anyone else trying to dive underneath him, missing their braking marker, positioning the car correctly to block off a run. None of that. All he's trying to do, he's just cruising. He's turning laps in his own laps, which means, number one, yeah, he's quick, but he's saving tires. If he needs to save fuel, number two, he can do that whenever he wants. And well, another chance to save fuel under this caution.
I think we almost had I think we did have a spin. I think it was the 24 of David Durand that either half spun or spun enough for this caution to come out.
I tell you what, Matt, can you get me the lyrics to the American National Anthem? Can I butcher that as well?
Aren't you Australian?
I am Australian. Do you want my rendition of the Australian National Anthem? I can give you both.
So he's Australian.
I would actually pay you more to not sing the national anthem.
Well, here's the thing. If he's Australian, even if he sings it flawlessly, being Australian, he would still be butchering the national anthem.
Exactly.
You know, how many cars spun around them? Sad that Spin Me Right Round hasn't come into the playlist.
Ooh.
You spin me right
That wasn't
round,
an invitation to start. That was not an invitation to start.
Somehow I think it was.
Look, I'm having fun up here in the booth. I always have fun watching Clutch drop.
Hey,
I'm settled in.
Let's, we got people that are tuned in here tonight to watch this race. Let's get the fans involved here. What song do you want Scott to sing next?
Oh god.
Why are we asking Matt's opinion? Let's get the fans into this.
Matt is over here trying to ruin my parade. So yeah, let's talk to somebody who wants to help me start a parade.
Here you go. Let's sing a song dedicated to Matt. Rain on My Parade, Barbra Streisand.
Better
Done.
How about you start looking down the Kids Bop lyrics and we'll start going down there.
Baby shark do 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 do.
No.
Yes.
We'll get demonetized. I'm coming for you.
Oh boy.
Oof,
You know,
man,
it's a good night when the band is on point.
I thought that song died last year, but it's
No,
gonna
it
be
keeps,
worth
revived.
it to know.
resurging.
Worth it to note, we are 2 away from our caution record.
It keeps
Oh, really?
resurfacing.
Yes, our caution record was set on Friday at 28. We are at
I
26.
said, we were saying before this broadcast, this field will never get near that. This is such a great field. These guys are great drivers. Yeah. Yeah,
Well, then again,
you've been doing the commentator's curse, Seth,
We
but
had-
I apparently pulled the field
I'm
curse.
responsible for 3 of those. I'll take responsibility for 3 of
We
them.
had 28 cautions and 250 laps in Bristol.
And this is
Oh,
Martinsville, so this should be...
This is 26 and 250.
I mean, we're doing better.
Math. I hate it. So, update for the drivers on the lead lap. Chris Smith got the lucky dog under that. So 13 cars in the lead lap of 16 cars that are running.
Well, that puts Alex Link with 4 cautions to go.
Yep. He's still got a shot. He's absolutely got a shot.
He's
Hang
about
on,
to go
where's
another
Tim
lap
Henry
down here,
at?
it seems.
Henry
Tim
has
Henry?
worked his way up to 16th.
16th. He's
Right
now
now,
60
last
laps
car
down on the
running.
next car. So... there is just enough laps. If Braden Carroll has quit for the night, which he is out on track, so if Braden Carroll does 10 more laps, the highest Tim Henry can finish is where he is, and I'm pretty sure he can't finish any lower. So it's basically 16th for Tim Henry, but that's a lot higher up than when he didn't start the car. So
Oh, absolutely. That's a net gain of 11, 12 points right there.
yeah, Matt Dyer, a comment. Scott said pre-race, no cautions. I blame Scott for all of this. I blame me too.
I still
Seth,
take
free starts.
responsibility for 3 of those. Yep. Green
Oh,
flag back
Chris
in the
Smith
air.
just about totaled the rear end of Jeremy Boucher. Oh my god.
And side by side for 3rd, Cybery and Keenan Massey. Massey got a little loose there off of turn 4 again. Massey, we saw, save tires for over 100 laps on one stint. Right now, about to complete his 58th lap on this set of tires.
Yeah, what a drive from Massey though. I mean, he's starting to fall back, but like I said, he hasn't had the out-and-out pace that the other drivers have had. What he has had is a switched-on brain. He's one that Seth up here is refusing to do math, but I can tell you what, Massey's been doing the math, and he's been doing the mathy correctly.
Thing I'm noticing here too, if you look at our top 2, Braxton DeWeese and Jacob Grant, you know, they've had solid outings here tonight. They're both running solidly in the point standings, but the both of them are looking for their first victory on the season. Don't forget, these are teammates as Jacob Grant, my goodness, what a slide off of turn 4. And he's going to loop it around. Oh, did he get hit from behind or did he lose it himself? Because he is spun out in turn 1.
Well, I saw Cybery in his rear bumper, so he come around and Cybery was right there with him. But I think Jacob Grant just said on comms that there's nothing he could really have done. You know, Cybery was doing the best he could to stay out of his rear, but you know, sometimes it's just the way it happens.
I talked about him, so I take responsibility for a 4th caution here tonight. Caution 27, and here's what happened. Saw him loose there off of 4, trying to save it, and I'm not really certain that there was contact between the 18 and the 33. I think the 18...
There was
there?
a
Okay.
tiny little bit. Yeah, but the 89 was what killed Jacob.
Yeah, Brandon King with a hard shot to the front end. Not that we would ever be able to notice if he had made contact with the front end, since there is no nose on that 89. It hasn't been for the last 70, 75 laps or so.
He's still out there. He's still in the top 10. He's still doing a great job.
Like I said, run all the laps. Doesn't matter how damaged your car is, run all the laps, because you never know what's going to happen. And if you could maybe even pick up 2-3 more spots in the closed stages of this race, and yep, you're right, there was the contact there with the 33 and the 89 finishing off Jacob Grant. So caution flies for the 27th time here tonight. Now, we just had a number of drivers come.
Oh, Deweese. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of drivers came down pit road, and I would have to wonder here, Scott, is this the final pit stop of the night for most of these guys?
Yes would be my math. So a lot of the guys. So let's go through the field and have a look at it. Cybery 238, Tellier 237, Schilling 239, Hall 237. So all of those guys should be all under the same caution. And it was about that period just after I said, yeah, these guys should be good on fuel. We should have enough cautions to see them home at about the 100 lap mark to go. So they all pit about then. Everyone else sort of shuffled in. And now we're starting to see the rest of that shakeout. Bushi, 252. He's safe. No matter what, he's safe. Deweese, safe at 262. Massey, 262. Stipe, 262. Duran, Belmonte, all those guys, 262. Smith, King, 262. And Jake Grant just came through. So Alex Link, back up to 3 laps down, by the way. So a few things going on. I've just had a message come through. I'd actually like to say a big shout out to my sister, who is definitely not listening, and none of my family are listening, who has just given birth to her 4th child.
Hey, congratulations.
So,
how's it feel to be an uncle for a 4th time?
A 6th time. My brother's got 2.
Oh, 6th time.
Only one away from tying the big leagues.
His name's Levi. Levi, nice name.
Good genes.
Get the hell out!
Hey.
Oh man, well this restart's gonna be with less than 90 laps to go, and as Matt alluded to, we ended up hitting our record for cautions last Friday night. These drivers have about 90 laps to work with to break that record, and they're one away from tying it. As Brian Cybery in the 33, I'm not 100% certain, but I think this might be the first time he's been out in front all night long as he leads us to the green.
Yeah, this is the first time he's actually been right at the front. I think the highest he's been is 3rd, either 3rd or 4th. He's been shuffling into traffic, but I think what we're about to see is a master at work. Somebody who knows how to fuel save, somebody who knows how to get the job done when you're going to run for an extended period.
Braxton Deweese went through the grass to get by Jeremy
Massey's
Bushi.
around.
And that was all because of that 3-wide situation. Bushi got forced into the middle. Massey couldn't check up for him. Braxton Deweese cut the grass there to be able to make that pass on the 73. And not sure how Bushi's going to feel about that one. There it was again. Watch the 3 of Braxton Deweese. He shows that he's going to try and make the pass here. Moves low before they're even halfway down the back straightaway. Hits the curbing up into the 73, 47, and the 24. Also stuck in that middle line. And just that checkup there with the loss of momentum of Jeremy Bushi. And Bushi loops it around, as did Massey.
Interesting. I don't think you should ever be at Martinsville. Should you ever be 3 wide? Probably not. The car that
scary enough going double wide.
Yeah, but you've also got to make moves, and Deweese has just made his pit stop, so he's definitely got to make moves. There was a little bit of discussion in the drivers' chat just then about should you go 3 wide. You know, should you be down there? What should you be trying to do? Now, if you actually have a look, Hall hasn't had a turn of speed all night either, and he's up here on the outside of this one, so... And he's a long way back. So... Bushi's covered him off. Braxton's still down there. Bushi's still got a lot of room to his outside. So, for my liking, this is just... Bushi argued that, hey, you know, why are you all the way down there? I'm racing. I gotta run. I went to the inside. There was a whole lane worth of room on the outside of them. That one's on Bushi. So Bushi's got no argument to come back out there.
I'll stand in defense of Braxton here. I mean, I see a lane, I'm taking it.
Like I said, too, when we watched back at that replay, he gave the indication that he was going to make that move down to turn 3 well before halfway down the back straightaway. Yeah, the indication was there. It wasn't like it was a last-minute decision.
No. He got the overlap, and the spotter would have been calling it. As they hit the braking zone, his nose is about the halfway point in the car. I'm fine with it, man. That's a good move.
I think it is too, if you consider the fact he really didn't wreck the 73. He broadsided him evenly. Yes, he sent him up the track, but it was then
I'd be worried about
the momentum for the 73 that actually spun him around with the 47.
Left front. because he hit the left front quite heavily, and you know, Bushi might have some steering damage, so that's my worry. But Nathan Hall did a great job up on the outside. He actually gave him a ton of space. You know, so what do you do? What do you do? I think the move is on. I think the move was clean. I think Bushi squeezed him. Bushi's just not aware that there's a bunch of space. Big credit there, actually, to Nathan Hall, who's now up in a 4th position. He gave a lot of space on the inside as soon as he recognized it was 3 wide. He went very deep into the corner, went very, very high. Great job.
And here's the thing, too, as we go back green, I'm going to say, too, it's Martinsville. Martinsville is one of those unique short tracks where it's actually really difficult to make passes. And it gets to the point where you're going to have to use your car as a weapon, move somebody up out of the preferred group, because everybody tries to hug the bottom. You know, it's all like chain racing there. So you're going to have to do something different and actually force your way for that position. We're going to continue to see that as this race goes on.
Yeah, and especially now that we're under the 50 lap to go marker, so everyone's got that little bit more aggressive. Braxton DeWeese is going to get by Derek Schilling, so he's back up to 3rd place. Hall's now slowly sliding down, and there was... Remember how I was saying earlier on, we talked about it during the driver's briefing? Give each other space. Give each other space. If you see a car's coming, and it's faster than you, let him go. Nathan Hall did that. Nathan Hall did a great job. He is very recognizing that he is not in this race. This is not his race to win. And he's being aggressive. Again, the same sort of thing I've been saying all night. He is holding his line. The instant somebody's underneath him, he yields. No problem. He is doing exactly what you need to do as a race car driver. So I'm very, very happy with the way that he's driving.
He's now got Jeremy Bushi going on by him. Dylan Stipe now will fill the hole at the inside to look and make a pass for 6th. Justin Belmonte next on the inside line. A little bit of an update there with that caution. Alex Link -2. So he still has a shot here as there's going to be now 50 laps
Mike
to go.
Tellier got very loose. No, he's still okay.
No caution. Gathered it back up, but it dropped him back to the 5th position. Now he's going to lose that to Dylan Stipe, who's going to almost lose it. Oh, overcorrects into the wall, did Stipe. Caution comes out for the 29th time. Stipe drove it in deep there to get by Mike Tellier, who had that loss of momentum. That car was coming around on him no matter what. He corrects it back and noses it into the outside wall instead.
Well, that changes things just a little bit. So Stipe is going to shuffle his way all the way back to the tail end of this lead lap. Now who's back to one lap down? It's Alex Link. Who's going to have the freshest set of tires at the back end of this race? Probably Alex Link, because he's going to be at the back of the queue. So why don't you come down pit lane? Why don't you grab, another set of tires? So just an update as well. We are now officially at the FRN broadcast caution record. Mike Tellier is coming for a fresh set.
And that might be because of that near spin that he had there off of turn 2.
Surely he's been down pit lane a lot. I have a feeling this is the last caution.
Nathan Hall, Brandon King, Dylan Stipe also going to come down pit lane this time. And as you mentioned with Alex Link getting the free pass, now -1. We are 1 caution away from 14 drivers being on the lead lap. There's Link going around to get the free pass. And you mentioned that there, Scott, we had 28 cautions last Friday night, which was the all-time record for yellow flags in an event here on FRN, and we just broke it here. 29th caution of the evening here tonight at Martinsville Speedway. I'm kind of wondering, next week these drivers are going to be heading to Richmond, which is also considered a short track. These guys, do you think, want to get out of the short tracks?
I think Richmond's just going to be considered an unstable track. It's just about finding a setup that's the least bad. I don't think you can come into Richmond with a good setup. I just don't think it works. I've never felt comfortable at Richmond. I think these drivers are considering themselves and thinking much the same. Short tracks, you expect it when you come to short tracks. Should they have expected this many? Probably not. I think the drivers have learned a fair bit about each other tonight. I think a few of them have learned about how great my karaoke skills are.
Yeah, by the way, I brought up the thing trying to get our fans involved about that, and since I opened it up to the fans to be able to suggest songs, there's been nothing. You've scared them all away.
So, multiple recommendations to remove my microphone.
I've noticed this.
Can we just say a big shout out to you, Seth? Over the last couple days, over the last 3 days, you've sat through 57 cautions. And you're still here. You're still chilling. You love broadcasting, don't you?
I'm still here. I'm finding it very strange to see drivers going at over 50 miles per hour. I'm getting used to that again, but I'm doing fine. Caution period gives a great opportunity to be able to learn things that I never knew, and contemplating the fact that since I hate math, about 90% of this job goes into statistics, which are math. So, yeah.
But is that 90%, 50% of the time, or 25%, 98% of the time? What's the statistic there?
You know what? You just said numbers. I can't talk. You call it the green.
I said names. You said numbers. So
Seth.exe stopped working.
Combox.exe is broken. Please order the updated version.
What happened there on that restart? The 33 was the control car. He went, and then it was like he stalled out because Braxton DeWeese stayed alongside him.
Well, DeWeese will have the non-optimal line through 3 and 4 here. Boucher's gotten clear. Schilling's up at the front again. Oh boy. I can guarantee you that Cybery is really, really happy that he's out in front. I tell you what, if DeWeese makes this outside lane work, we could have a change for the preferred line.
Well, he's got the tire advantage. Oh, that's Nathan Hall back there, hard into the inside wall. And now the question is, who was ahead between the two leaders at the time? I think it might have been Cybery. No, I guess it was Braxton.
At the moment of caution?
They were dead
I think they
even.
were. Yeah.
3 is ahead of the 33, so I'm guessing that timing and scoring the race officials have the 3 scored the race leader, but yeah, I couldn't tell at the timing of the yellow who was ahead.
In the top 3 positions, the number 3 is on the cars 4 times.
You're gonna hit me with more number facts. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. 80% of the numbers on cars in the top 3 is 3.
Well, Alex Link fans rejoice. The 71 is back on the lead lap after being 4 laps down. Here's what happened to Nathan Hall, the Derek Cope throwback. And now the caution out for the 30th time here tonight, and this is Martinsville. There's still a long ways to go in this race. I mean, we just crossed the 40 laps to go threshold. So everybody back here, you talked about Derek Schilling. Remember the circumstances when he won back at Daytona. He was running at the time outside of the top 5. I think he was actually running outside of the top 10. I think he was 11th or 12th. And all the race leaders ended up wrecking on the final lap. He made it through all the mayhem to pick up that victory.
Who knows? I mean,
no one can say that can't happen tonight.
It can't not happen. It's still a point. Whilst ever Schilling is out on the track, he is still a potential.
And you also got a couple of other guys back there as well. Keenan Massey's back in the picture, 6th. David Durand there in 7th. And if you're Mike Tellier in that 97, I mean, are you hating to see these cautions? Because he's got the fresh tire advantage. I mean, heavens, he's got, with drivers ahead of him with the freshest tires, he's still got 17-lap fresher tires than those guys. I mean, that's probably one of the few guys in the field that wants to see the long green flag run. He wants to take advantage of this fresh rubber.
Yeah. I mean, it could be that he wants to take advantage of the fresh rubber. The other thing is, what he wants to do is reset himself up on each of these restarts on the inside lines. So provided he keeps getting the inside line, I don't think he'll be too upset, because that's another couple cars that maybe he'll be able to shuffle out. So, who knows? Matt, you still there?
Yes, sir. How can I do for you?
How are you finding the race, man? Are you enjoying the enforced speed limits here, or not?
I mean, I prefer track limits, but, speed limits is a new one.
I think I figured it out. I think I figured out what needed to happen here tonight. We needed to have Martinsville be covered with dirt.
I mean, have you guys seen the North Wilkesboro suggestions to be covered in dirt? I'm keen for that. That'd be an amazing track.
Honestly, I think we should just go to Bowman Gray. I mean, at this point.
Caution laps would be shorter.
Can we go to Lakeland's? Lakeland's dirt? Now that we've got the stock cars on dirt package?
Laguna Seca dirt?
Oh.
No.
There is dirt around Laguna Seca.
I've seen it before. I've seen it before on the NR Sim. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Battle for fourth. Derek Schilling. Just Belmonte. How about Mike Tellier? Should we go 3 wide? Mike Tellier says yes.
Tellier says, I'm not waiting. Schilling is bad news. I don't want to be anywhere near him. I'm going to send it. And not only did he send it, he pulled it off. And that's down to Schilling's work on that one as well.
Monte just ahead of him in the 12th position. Of course, had his issue early on, all the way back on lap 2. But he's now up inside of the top 5, chasing his 7th straight top 10 finish of the season. Saw a driver hit pit road, the 89 of Brandon King, who was on the lead lap when we took that green flag for the restart.
Yeah, but look at DeWeese, like Bushy's made his way past Cybery, Belmonte. All of a sudden, things are starting to spice themselves up. We've seen turns. You know who I haven't seen at the front of this motor race since the very start of this thing? Justin Belmonte. Guess who's up there now? I wouldn't be surprised if Belmonte's still got a shot. I think he's got pace, man.
Justin Belmonte not only leads the drivers here this season in top 10s with 6 in 6 races, he's also leading in top 5s. He's got 4 in the first 6 races, so looking to continue to build on that statistic as now Mike Tellier, the fresh tires to his inside. Belmonte might be a sitting duck here because definitely the 97 is going to have the better exit speed with the fresh Goodyears underneath him.
Yeah, just let him go. The other thing you don't want him to do is stay on that high line for very, very long. You want to make sure that you can get back to that low line because you want to be able to defend. Because Massey's making his way back up again.
I don't know if that was on purpose or if that was just overdriving the corner, but Mike Tellier almost went up above the concrete in turns 1 and 2.
Change the lead! Change the lead! Bushy's taking the lead away from DeWeese! He shuffles him up!
That's the first time we've seen the 73 in second place actually be able to run down the leader and pass him all night long, and it might be go time for him, realizing the fresh tires of Mike Tellier is less than a second behind.
Well, I tell you what, remember when they got together a couple laps ago? The thing that Bushy said, if that's how you want to race...
Oh, Cybery! Oh! And Bushy!
Bushy's got the lead back! Bushy's going to get the lead back here.
I don't know about that. I think Bushy was the caution. I think Cybery's
I think
Cybery's the caution.
I think Cybery's the caution.
73 looks like he may be coming back up to get the position back, so you may be correct.
That was dirty, Tellier.
Hey. Take a look and see what happened. 2 inches right there. A battle for the lead and a battle for third. Oh, Bushy just flat out lost it.
Yeah, he did. He did. There was no helping there whatsoever. Cybery. Okay. Here we go. Braxton DeWeese and Bushy both coming to the box. Both of them.
Well, they would probably still have a set left, and they're taking it with 25 laps to go.
There is no way that this is fuel. This is not fuel related whatsoever. They would be good on fuel. Have been for a good while. So, mate, I tell you what, one more caution, and you're up to 60 in the last 3 days. How do you feel about that? You're averaging, currently, your average is 20 cautions a day.
It is.
DeWeese is going to get out in front of Bushy. Bushy just spun tires coming out of the box. Oh, this is going to be a firecracker. Oh, no, because they crossed the timing line, Bushy had... DeWeese sped on pit lane.
Oh, wow. And that could be a penalty with only a handful of laps remaining, possibly only 20 to go when we go back green. It could just very well have cost the dominant driver of the day this victory.
You know what? I think Braxton DeWeese got an unsafe pit entry for that one because he dived in the pit lane late because he saw Bushy going for it. Talia's advantage is now only over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. So he's got Cybery ahead of him. The other 4 are now behind him. Alex Link is now back in this race. Don't forget that either.
That's true. Yeah, he was just down on pit road here for what looked like possibly, well, I'm not sure if tires were taken. He spent a little bit extra time getting some more damage repaired. That car completely crunched up on the front, especially around the right front area. And something I've been noticing here as well is the fact that at this current point in time, we now have another driver out of the race who will finish inside the top 15. That is Derek Schilling, our Daytona winner. The furthest he can drop with the number of laps remaining is down to 15th, where Braden Carroll currently is at. Carroll would have to complete 10 more laps to pick up 14th place.
Is Braden King still in this as well? I think he is. Yeah, he is.
Yes. He lost 3
currently
laps with getting under green.
We've got 14 drivers still left in the server. 15? Yeah, 15. 15. Henry's still in here, so we're down to 15. And I tell you, I think we're about to see the fireworks go off. Because Braxton needs to shuffle guys out of the way here to get back. We're going to start seeing a lot of cautions. A lot of cautions, I think, because Braxton's going to be aggressive. Bushi's feathers are ruffled. Mike Telly is being aggressive. These guys are going for it!
Oh! The block! Oh! Was that payback between the 33 and the 97?
No. Bushi's around! Bushi is around! It's another caution! What has happened to Bushi?
Then he looped it, that's for certain. Don't know if there was contact there or not. We're going to go back and look at that, but I'm telling you what, the 33 threw the block on the 97, that's for sure. But then he doored him down into the inside wall. Don't forget, Mike Tellier got into the back of Brian Cybery under the last caution. So I think there might have been a little bit of payback there on that contact over into turn 1.
Okay, Cybery tries to get back on the gas, spins it in front of Bushi.
And then a little contact there with, was that Grant in the 18? Almost kind of jumped the left rear of the 73 off the ground and then just loses it off of turn 2. But I want to go back again to that contact there between the 33 and the 97. Because do I blame Brian Cybery for going down and blocking? Absolutely not. But then the contact that followed up afterwards that sent the 97 down to the inside wall, that says to me the 33 was saying, hey, Tellier, I remember what you did to me there under that last yellow. And after all that, really, Cybery was the on the losing end of that.
Yeah. So, what did I say? This is about to go supernova? Yeah! Cybery is upset. I don't think he's got a lot of rights to be upset. Tellier was coming. Yeah. But it was clean up until that last caution. That last caution before where he tapped him and he went around. I mean, that one was a little bit aggressive. And then Cybery went, you know what? He's not getting by me. He is not getting by me. See, the thing is, if Tellier's just a little bit more cautious, gets around in the next lap, you'll get him around him. No problem. But it's because he tries to go for him straight away. Now, Tellier has to go. 100%. Tellier has to go. Fresher tires are coming now. But what he's just done instead is potentially thrown away the race lead, race win by doing that. Braxton DeWeese has made a couple of spots. Like, oh, okay. How's this for restarts? You're gonna have Braxton DeWeese in 10th, just in front of Jeremy Bushi.
Look at you guys, the race leader, David Durand, 4 top 10s here this season. Best finish of 2nd. That was back 3 weeks ago at Atlanta. And he's out in front showing the way in this race. Who's to say that we may have quick yellows for the remainder of this race and the 24 car might be going to victory lane?
This race hasn't spoken. Everyone is going supernova. There are some tempers flaring right now. So, look. Driving with the red mist on is a skill. Who has got that skill the best? Who knows? Who knows, man? It's short track racing. It's a different kind of racing. Driving with a temper at a short track. I think we're going to see several cars in the fences in the next 5 laps. I'm expecting 3 to 4 cars.
Tough thing too, if you're a driver out there that doesn't have any quarrel with somebody, you have to be aware of where those
Did
rivalries
Jacob Grant just overlap on the inside? I think Jacob Grant might get a penalty. I don't think he passed. I think he's okay. DeWeese has made up a spot.
5th. Mike Tellier is now up to 2nd. He just got around Chris Smith. Somebody smoked the tires back there. And turn 3.
Just tapped the rear end of Braxton DeWeese.
Chris Smith's going to be a little bit of a moving chicane here, I think.
Oh, DeWeese nearly got totaled by Bushi.
Oh, and now Nathan Hall nearly loses it. He was halfway spun round off of turn 2.
3 wide! 3 wide!
And Nathan Hall's going to get sent up the track.
He's no caution! No caution! We're still green! He saved it!
Oh, nope, he's around again. This time out of turn 4. And still no yellow flag going to come out as he's trying to get the thing refired. He will straighten it back out. We still stay under the green. Alex Link. Oh, Link drifts in front of the 3 of Braxton DeWeese. Did you do a slide job at Martinsville? Because he just tried it.
Yeah, and I think the 55 is going to get shuffled wide, so DeWeese is going to be up to 7th spot. Boucher's going to be all over that 55, nearly whacks the wall there as well. And when Martinsville burns it up, it starts to burn the entire place to the ground.
Now Monte nearly went off the nose of Jacob Grant that last time off of turn 2. As right now, Durand is setting sail, pulling away. There you see Mike Teller got loose off the 2nd corner. Durant's got 0.8 of a second. That's Massey for 2nd place.
Massey's down the inside. Cybery just gets checked up in the background by Belmonte, so Braxton DeWeese is going to be all over him now.
That's going to be the battle for 6th. Massey's completed the pass for 2nd place.
10 to go. Here we go.
The tire difference between the 24 and the 47 is 37 laps. So advantage to Massey as he's now closed it to less than 2 car lengths here on the 24 of Durand.
Braxton DeWeese just grabbed another spot, so he's up to 6, and he is just massively coming after Belmonte. Belmonte's dead in the water, but Boucher is still coming at Braxton DeWeese. Grant's now down the inside of Tellier.
And he might clear him.
28.
He does.
Yeah, he does. Oh, he's got a block. He's got a block. Tellier's trying to block.
Battle for the lead. Massey clears Durand. To the front goes the 47.
Braxton DeWeese wants the inside here on Belmonte. He's going to get it.
Ooh, hit the curb. The left side's a little bit there. Lost some momentum. Belmonte trying to hold tough, and Boucher right there as well. 3-man fight for 6.
Oh, no!
3-1. They made it work, but a lot of contact was exchanged. Luis is going to get back to him. Oh, this is interesting. And he's going to loop him around. Luis dumps the 73 around in turn 3. And more drivers pile in.
Boucher had that coming.
Wow.
Can you just go back a couple laps and have a look at the way that Boucher set it up the inside? 3 wide into 1 and 2? Boucher calls DeWeese out for it. It says, all right, we're going to race this way. Does it back to him. I told you it was going to get Supernova.
And it did, no doubt about that. I mean, tonight is WWE's biggest pay-per-view of the night, WrestleMania. If you missed out on it, thanks for tuning in here tonight, because this is the iRacing version of WrestleMania here tonight. Here is a look. Oh man, Boucher. It didn't even look like he was going to make that corner.
No, there's no way he was
going to the inside of DeWeese. I mean, he was turned to the right into the left rear quarter panel of the 3. Then he takes it 3 wide again, going into turn 3, and DeWeese says, all right, enough of this. And gets him in the left rear, spins him around.
He definitely locks it up heading into the corner. So, you got that. And Boucher just lifts off on the straightaway. DeWeese tries to get under the... There was a hole there.
It really looked like the 73. After the initial contact between the two with that first 3 wide, it looked like Boucher was waiting on the 3 down the back straightaway.
I wouldn't say waiting, but he lifts off. Like, he brake checks him.
Here's on board with the 3 of Braxton DeWeese. There's right there where the 73 makes the 3 wide move. Off of turn 2. Watch how the 73... I think what happened... Yeah, he brake checks him there on the back straight. I think what was happening there was Braxton DeWeese saw the 73 coming down. I think the 73 was going to door bang him on the right side, and DeWeese lifted. So that way he did not get hit. And that's why he got brake checked down the back straightaway, because the 73 was still ahead of him at the time.
What do you do? What do you do from race control? You can't... They've got a lot to review this week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I've said a lot... I've said a lot about how this league is one of the cleanest. This is short track racing. You're going to bump and you're going to grind. I think if you go back and you have a look at the initial... This is what Bushi needs to do this week. He needs to go back and have a look at the initial incident where they go 3 wide. The initial incident was totally fine. There was enough space there for 3 of them to get through. It wasn't ascend. Bushi has just gone... Bushi's... So there's two factors that have involved Bushi a lot more heavily in this last one. Number 1, we're under 10 laps to go. He's got to go for it. 100% has to go for it. So, and number 2, then there's the temper. So if you look at it in that order, whereby there's only 10 laps left to go and Bushi's being aggressive on that basis, he gets some defense. But you can definitely tell with the way that he sent it in there that there is temper in there. You don't send it that deep. That's too deep. You said it. He's not going to make the corner, man.
Well, here's the thing for me. Do I question the move? Yes. Am I okay with the move? Yes. The thing I question is the fact that he put the blame on the 3. Oh, and we're gonna have a huge wreck. This was with a green-white checkered in race length. Now we're going into overtime as that Belmonte that I saw almost up into the air as he was sandwiched into the outside wall.
Cybery.
There were about 3 or 4 others.
It was Cybery. Cybery just come out and said he got loose on the restart. Oh, the 3. Braxton had to go for it. Braxton 100% had to go for it here. He got the overlap, and then Cybery starts to come up because he gets loose again. Cybery just gets loose, controls it, gets loose, controls it, gets loose. Ah, there's a wreck. And
it's a parking lot. It's a smoke screen on the front straightaway. There's Smith in the 55, Bushi in the 73, Alex Link. Belmonte almost went up and over, getting sandwiched up into the wall.
Belmonte's had one of those nights, man. It's a night to forget. He has had a look at the amount of cars he's driven by all night long. He has driven a phenomenal race to get back up to where he is. It's just bad luck. That's so bad luck.
Caution counter continues to increase. 34 cautions here tonight. And we've still got overtime here at Martinsville. Keenan Massey, prior to the last caution coming out, took the race lead. And he is looking in his 3rd start here in the Clutch Drop Cup Series to take his first trip to victory lane.
Well, I tell you what, Jacob Grant has had pace. Durand, this has been a really off night for Durand. Durand has had flashes of brilliance this season, but they've been just that, flashes. But having said that, whenever he is off the pace, he's just slightly off the pace. And he's had a car that's come good in the middle of a stint, and then gone. So he's sort of had really bad short run speed, okay and quick middle speed, and then average speed at best at the back end of a stint. So, and he's been dealing with connection problems all night. A lot of the drivers have driven around him very, very well, given that scenario. Jacob Grant has had pace. Massey, again, like I said earlier, has not had the best car in the field at any stage tonight. Driven with his head. He's passed guys when and where he needs to. He's been aggressive, but it's been tempered aggression. And I could, if there's anyone that you could look at right throughout this field tonight that has been dealt a bad hand or put themselves in bad spots, but has kept the car clean, Cybery was close. Very, very close to that, but unfortunately he's gotten called up in a couple of little things. Massey has done it to RT. He's done a great job, and there's a reason he's in this spot. 2 to go. 2. If he can keep it clean for 2 laps under a single file restart, we're going to be single file. We've got 2 opportunities of green white checkers tonight. Both will be single file. If this one goes green, I think he's good.
Make sure of strategies of tires inside of the top 5 there. You've got Massey and Grant, 26-lap old tires, 63 on David Duran's Goodyears, 46 on Mike Tellier, and 88 on 5th place running Brian Sybrey.
But Sybrey's quick. Sybrey has not been slow. He's been slower than Tellier. Oh, here's another story to tell. Tellier and Sybrey.
Oh, they're nose to tail again.
Yeah. And I mean, Braxton's going to keep his eyes in the rearview mirror. His car's definitely down on horsepower.
Got himself a nice restart there, but couldn't get to the inside of Keenan Massey. Can they keep it together for at least 1 lap to make it back to the white flag?
I think they can. We're almost there. Nathan Hall all of a sudden starting to send it. Durand is holding up Tellier. They're all had to check up for him. Tellier was really weak on entry. Sorry, Durand was weak on entry. Tellier was good in the middle. Tellier's down the inside.
Looking for 3rd on Durand. Ooh, got the curbing there, as you can see. Looking back from...
Tellier's around!
Doesn't matter. Racing back to the start-finish line. Caution flies. Grant gonna set it. Oh, look out! 55's in the way! Off the final corner! Just barely avoiding this Massey, and Massey is going to win here tonight at Martinsville. Oh, that was heart-stopping right there. The 55 was facing down to the inside wall in the middle of 3 and 4, where the race leaders were heading, coming to the checkered flag. 3rd start of the season, and Keenan Massey picks up his first top 10, first top 5, and will get a grandfather clock tonight at Martinsville with his first win of the season.
I mean, you can sit here and you can say, oh, driver's quality has been poor all night long, this and that. But at the end of the night, you've got to keep yourself a clean car. Let's have a look at the way that Braxton lost this race. Did he lose this race with that 3-wide move down the inside of Bushi? Yeah, I think he did. Do you want to know why? He made an enemy. What's the one thing you don't want to do at Martinsville? Make an enemy you're starting alongside all night.
I'll tell you one other thing that I think also that kind of put him back in the situation where he made that enemy was that unsafe pit entry that you were talking about, that penalty that set him back in traffic. I think that kind of set all the wheels in motion.
If he stays at, because you're 100% right, he come out in front of Bushi, but he got that unsafe pit entry. So you take that out of the equation. Now he did throw the block to try and get down there. He was watching Bushi. Bushi went to the lane late. He had to dive because he had to cover Bushi off. 100% he had to cover Bushi off in terms of pit strategy. Bushi played that perfectly. Did he respond in the wrong manner? Yes and no. I think he definitely got a little bit more
kind
aggressive.
of a you be the judge situation.
But well, I mean, here's the thing: Bushi didn't get aggressive until he had somebody else get aggressive on him. So I think Bushi has raced other. It's do unto others as you want done to yourself, and he's definitely done that. But Bushi is going to go back and look at that 3-wide incident and go, I had a lane to move up. I pinched him. That one was on Bushi. And we said that at the time, but then Bushi took it to heart. Shake it off. You don't make an enemy there, you probably pick yourself up a podium, Jeremy Bushi.
Couple of things if we look here at the race results. So far this season, High Five Racing had been out of victory lane. It's a 1-2 finish for the team here tonight with Massey and Grant. David Duran on those old tires, great job by him to finish in 3rd. Sybrey in 4th. How about Nathan Hall? You talked about him being respectful out there. He didn't make any enemies. He's going to salvage a top 5. Braxton Deweese probably had the strongest car of the evening. He'll have to settle for 6th with Dylan Stipe in 7th. The streak's still alive for the top 10 streak for Belmonte. He's a perfect 7 for 7, finishing 8th. And Mike Tellier with that spin in what was a battle for 3rd place on the final lap is going to mire him all the way back into the tail end of the top 10 and 9th with Jeremy Bushi bringing it home in the 10th position.
Oh, man, what a race. Like, caution filled, but it wasn't... It was always interesting. right? So you can say sometimes you get a caution-filled race and it's just boring. Cars aren't really overtaking each other the instant they try to. That's when the caution's coming out. But Martinsville doesn't provide that. Yeah, sure, it's caution-filled, but there's always something going on. There's drivers trying to adjust their strategy, trying to put themselves in different positions out on the racetrack. Both of these guys have done exactly what they needed to with where they needed to put their cars all night long. And look at that. I mean, the winner of the race, I don't think Massey was ever within the top 5 in terms of pace. But he drove to the front. He kept himself clean.
And he played tire conservation to gain track position. Thing that I also noticed here tonight as well. Yes, we did have our highest caution count to date here on FRN. But not only that, though, the thing I noticed was the diversity of what brought out those yellows. A lot of the early cautions were drivers versus track or drivers versus setup, getting loose by themselves, especially off of turn 4. Then it's turning into drivers versus other drivers on different tires, different braking zones, different areas of where the car was able to rotate through the center maybe a little bit better than another driver just based on the pit strategy that took place. And then we started getting to the end and drivers' patience started running out. It became driver versus driver in terms of rivalries and in terms of temper.
Yeah. A lot to take away, though. The good news is, with a race like that, there's a lot to take away. First and foremost, Keenan Massey in the playoffs now. Good job. Great job. Drove a phenomenal race. Really, really high quality drive. Not top draw. We're not talking this is Cybery, this is Boucher, this is Belmonte. But he's just as good as those guys now because he's done it. So he's going to be there in those playoffs.
Yeah, we'll be talking with him momentarily here. We're actually going to talk with the entirety of our podium finishers here this evening. And let's see if we can get David Durand, who almost tied his best finish of the season, second a few weeks ago at Atlanta, third place here tonight on Pit Strategy at Martinsville. Hey, David, it's Scott and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
I got you guys. How you doing?
And what a long one here tonight, but we saw a lot of different drivers utilize the multiple cautions we had tonight to put a little bit of pit strategy into the equation, you being one of those drivers. About 60-lap old tires out there, racing with drivers with nearly 40-lap fresher tires than you, but you bring it home with a top 3 finish. After 325 laps here tonight, how exhausted are you?
The legs are pretty exhausted. There's way too many cautions, but to get third out of this is pretty good because we didn't really have a winning car, maybe not even a top 5 car. We were just trying to just lay in the back of the pack and just trying to stay out of trouble. We did got spun a couple times, but the damage wasn't so severe, so we were able to keep in there with the leaders. But it was pretty exhausting to say the least.
Look, I mean, long race, like you said, exhaustion, fatigue, it's a lot of that, but also tempers. I mean, you managed it, you didn't make any enemies out there tonight, and how important is that at a track like Martinsville?
Well, it is important because next week you go to Richmond, which is another short track, so the tempers are gonna be even worse, I think, at next week. I didn't make any enemies tonight, at least I don't think. Try to race as clean as possible, and hopefully that we were trying to win it right there and be in the right place in the right time. We didn't, but to get a top 3 out of this is pretty spectacular, if you ask me.
Now, David, we obviously know, with Bristol Dirt, usually those races are somewhat chaotic. We saw here tonight a pretty chaotic race at Martinsville, and as you mentioned, the third leg of back-to-back-to-back short tracks with Richmond next week. So, you've had great numbers here at the short track. 6th last time out at Bristol Dirt, 3rd place here tonight. So, does it change the mentality going into Richmond where you think that you're going to be competitive again up there inside the top 5, or do you at least start out the Richmond race still with kind of a survival mentality?
Probably a survivor mentality, to be honest. I'm not really the strongest on the short tracks. Richmond's probably my best one out of all that we run in on schedule. But ever since they changed, how these cars handle, we weren't expecting these cars to handle the way they handle because the track was really, really slick, not a lot of grip. So Richmond, we're probably going to expect the same thing, especially with the heavy braking. But when they're going to add more grip on the high side, so it should be better racing, I hope. So Richmond should be a fun show for everybody next week. I hope so.
David, congratulations on a great performance here tonight. Podium finish at Martinsville. Pit strategy definitely worked out in your favor there in the closing stages, and you salvage a really good performance here tonight and some great momentum here in these first two short track stops going into Richmond. We're going to now give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Just like Waffle Motorsports and Dylan Stipe, Tristan and Blaine, we work on a really tough setup this week. We weren't expecting to be where we at, but we got some pretty good momentum going in these short tracks, so hopefully we keep it up, and maybe hopefully one of us can get a win at Richmond.
Well, a great performance here tonight for David Duran. Brings the 24 car home in the third position. Once again, congratulations, David, and I look forward to seeing how you do next week.
All right, thank you, guys.
Looks like we do not have our second place finisher, Jacob Grant, on hand to be able to get an interview with the guy that was very much in the conversation there in the final stages to try and take this victory. But we do have the guy down in Victory Lane celebrating his first win of the season, Keenan Massey. Hey, Keenan, it's Scott and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Sure do.
Wow, what a race here tonight that you drove. Maybe the cleanest car out there on the racetrack. We saw you do a lot of pit strategy, gain track position, but then up there at the right place at the right time in those last couple of restarts. But I got to ask you, with how crazy we saw restarts here tonight, how much were you looking in the rearview mirror at the cars behind you to see their closing rate than out the windshield?
Well, so we had those two green-white checkers there at the end, or at least they felt like green-white checkers, and I was looking a lot in my rear view, but I was just too focused on what was ahead. I had looked in the rear view a lot that night, and to this point, all I was concerned about was finishing the race in first. So, but then that second one came out, and I was able to get just a little bit of a jump on the single file restart, and was able to carry that through. Luckily, I had my teammate behind me. He was kind of giving me call outs, and we wanted to have a clean race to the finish, and that we did.
Well, I'll tell you what, when you've got Jacob Grant in behind you, and like you said, teammates, was the call there was it team orders? He was just gonna follow you home, just get the race finished, rather than it was so it was racing it to the end? Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah, he told me that if he got there, he was gonna try and take it, but I just took it and ran away with it.
I mean, talk to us about racing through the pack all night long, because we saw a lot of drivers have issues. Not necessarily. I'm not going to call out obviously the driver issues, because that's a whole different kettle of fish, and we kind of don't want to get into that. But what I liked about your run all night long is that you recognized when somebody got a run on you, and you didn't give it to them, but you basically just said, "You're underneath me, have the space." So how important is that when you come to tracks like this?
I honestly think the middle groove in tracks like this are really, really important to learn how to run. Most people just kind of dive it into the bottom and bump people out of the way, and we saw a lot of that tonight. And I think that's what ultimately got a lot of people in trouble, is they damaged their cars too much to compete with people that had clean cars. So every time, I watched the Cup race today, and I saw people make the middle line work. So, I thought, push for it and see if I can get it to work. And I consider myself a clean racer. I'll race you clean if you race me clean. I'm not a bumper. I don't use my bumper a lot. So
we saw that yours was the only clean car in the field.
Heck, I'll take it. I was involved in a wreck where a couple guys went 3 wide and kind of got together, and I thought that was the end of my night. But I guess apparently, compared to some of the other cars out there, not so much.
You were the cleanest car in the field by a considerable margin by the end of that. So.
I'm just kind of in shock. So,
back in and real quick here too. I wanted to ask you. I mean, we ended up obviously seeing that you came here into the season about halfway through the number of races that we've run. Still a lot of regular season left to go. So with this victory, do we continue to see you week after week, as this win would have locked you up a playoff spot?
I really, really certainly hope so. I've struggled to get this is my first league win, so this run really means a lot to me, even though it came at a caution-filled Martinsville race. But heck, a win is a win in my eyes. So I'm really hoping I can carry this momentum, bring it forward. Maybe now that I'm locked in, I can, try some stuff on pit road, really perfect my pit road, and see if I can go get another one.
Okay,
I mean, it's a long.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, like, I mean, we've got the opportunity tonight because Jacob's obviously not available for interview. Let's throw a few extra questions at him.
We do actually have Jacob. I
Never
found
mind.
out. So.
Never mind. I'll just stop coming up with good ideas. It's okay.
No, go ahead. Ask your question. Go ask your question.
Look, Keenan, I mean, you're now locked in, and I think you've done, like I said, like I was saying to David Duran, like, one of the biggest things about short tracks is don't make an enemy. And you were, I don't think at any stage were the fastest car on the track, but you were the cleanest car on track, and you made absolutely zero enemies. I don't think there's a single person out there in the field that can sit down and say, oh, I'm disappointed with Massey winning tonight, because I think if out of everyone, you race people, like you said, clean. And we're going to Richmond next week. You've made no enemies here. That means you're going to Richmond without somebody with a target on your target posted on your back next week. I mean, how important is that at Richmond?
Oh, I think it's very important. You see, even in real life, people carry grudges through short track racing, and I have a feeling that this is not going to be any different. So going into this with a clean conscience is amazing. You know, hopefully I can carry this momentum on other short tracks and have another good finish. I don't want this to be a one-win wonder all season. So.
Hopefully, Keenan, you were also able to keep an eye on where these rivalries are, so that way you're not involved in and bystander next week at Richmond. But man, congratulations on a great performance and your first victory of the season here in Clutch Drop at Martinsville. We're now going to give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, I only got a few here. First of all, I want to thank Dylan for accepting me into this league and having this league going on. I also want to thank High Five Racing for bringing me onto their team. I want to thank Tight End Loose Off with Tyler Stooksbury. A huge shout out to him. And I also want to thank King Grant Paints for being on the car and providing me with my probably favorite paint scheme I've ever had.
That's Keenan Massey. He's going to be your winner here tonight at Martinsville Speedway. His first win of his Clutch Drop Cup Series career. Once again, congratulations there, Keenan. And man, you've had some pretty good runs here in the few starts that you've had in Clutch Drop. I look forward to seeing you carry this momentum into Richmond next week.
Sounds awesome, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
And I want to thank our broadcast colleague, Matthew Rodriguez, for notifying me that indeed Jacob Grant is here tonight. He's using a teammate's account, and that's why I didn't realize he was in here. So let's get our runner-up finisher. Hey, Jacob, it's Scott and Seth here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, man, we just talked with the race winner. You finished second place here tonight, but you were within striking distance. If you'd had maybe another couple of feet up to the back bumper, what kind of strategy did you have to get around that 47 on the final lap?
So there on the last restart, that green-white checkered, we were going to work with each other, and then we decided to just go in because we were both racing for the win. We both wanted it. I told him that if I didn't have it, I wasn't going to battle him. I was just going to. It was his first league win, and I was excited for him. If I had it, I was going to go for it, and we were going to race it out and be as clean as possible. But if I didn't have it, then I was just going to give it to him. If I couldn't get my nose there, then I wasn't going to run him up the track or do anything to get him out of the way. I mean, that's my teammate. I want the best. I want us to finish 1-2 instead of us both wrecking and finishing like 8th or 9th or something. So.
Can I say how valuable that is? I ran in a team race last week, and we were running 3rd through 6th, and we all wrecked on the last corner because we were all racing each other so hard. So, yeah, it's good to have teammates around you because you know that you get that little bit of extra clean racing, man. But and like you said, look at Keenan. I think you got yourself involved in a few incidents early on. You were definitely. I could hear the frustration in your voice over the driver comms towards some of the racing that was going on tonight. But Keenan didn't get involved in that. He kept himself clean. And do you believe that that's why he's up there and you're sitting right behind him?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I don't even know how clean how I kept my car so clean. I felt like I got hit by everything on the racetrack, even the birds that were flying around on the outside. I feel like they pooped on my car a couple times. He just stayed out of trouble the best he could. He's really, really good at trying to keep himself out of danger, and I think that really helps him a lot. I've taught him to have a lot of patience coming through. It's funny. Me and him met in an official race, and he wrecked me, and I was like, well, maybe if I work with him a little bit and get him a part of the team, maybe he can get a little bit better because he showed a lot of potential. So me and Braxton have been working a lot with him, so we've helped him out a lot, and I'm really happy for him.
He showed so much pace tonight. He did. And he's got to be frustrated, but I think he also showed a turn of aggression. And next week we're heading to Richmond, and Braxton's going to be heading in, and Boucher is not going to be happy with him heading into Richmond. And then not only that, he's got Cybery, who's right there with Boucher. Those guys are so similar for pace with Braxton. As a teammate, how do you help him manage that?
I just got to keep him calm, keep him patient. He's really good at keeping himself calm throughout the race. He talks to himself a lot to keep himself calm, so that's good. I just got to keep him to stay patient. I got to keep myself to stay patient as well. Last season when we ran Richmond, I had a top 3 car, ended up getting wrecked by a lapped car. So we're gonna work all week on getting a good setup for high five racing, and we're gonna go to Richmond and try to put everybody in the top 5.
So I got to ask real quickly here, Jacob. I mean, one thing that happened there in that final lap that really didn't get a whole lot of coverage. You guys took the white flag. It was a mano-a-mano battle for that race win, a couple of teammates. But then you go through 3 and 4. There's the 55 of Chris Smith facing 90 degrees the wrong way towards the inside. I mean, how did that play into the battle between you guys there in the final corners?
So the funny thing about that is the 55 is the team owner of High Five Racing. So he was sitting here, me and Keenan are talking to each other, and he's sitting here trying to tell us that he's sideways in 3 and 4 to go high, and we can't hear him because we're talking to each other and we're racing, so we don't hear him. And we get there and we see him, so we both shoot up high. So I mean, it was crazy. If we were side by side, we were all gonna wreck.
There was a heart-stopping moment up here as well. Just see the 55 enter into the same camera shot as you guys, but fortunately, you both made it around and finished in first and second place here for High Five Racing. So congratulations on that. I believe it's the first teammate 1-2 finish on the season as well here in Clutch Drop. We're now going to give the opportunity here, Jacob, for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
First off, I would like to thank Titan Lusoff. He's got a YouTube channel. Everybody should go check it out. It's Titan Lusoff. He covers everything NASCAR, a lot of things that people don't know about with NASCAR. It's really great. He posts every Monday, I believe, or every Tuesday. It's one of those. But him being the primary sponsor, he's helped me out a lot. I'd like to thank Wickedly Boosted for sponsoring me as well. King Grant Paints for making all the High Five Racing's paint schemes. And then High Five Racing for allowing me to drive the number 18 car for them in this league. And you guys for broadcasting. So you guys do a fantastic job. I love watching you guys.
Well, Jacob Grant's going to pick up his second top 5 on the season. This will keep him up there in the playoff picture as well as far as points. Was 6th in the overall standings coming in. And pretty good numbers here at the 2 short tracks so far. We got Richmond going up next week, so best of luck to you there.
Thank you.
Just a heads up, make sure that you turn the volume down a little bit. There's a few opportunities throughout the stream where there was good times for some karaoke, so just beware.
All right.
Oh, man. Tonight, we ended up having a very caution-filled race. But nonetheless, I think, if we look at everything that took place here tonight, Scott, it's a short track. The one thing that sums it up is Martinsville.
Yeah. You come to Martinsville to get racing like this, and you know that everyone's going to walk out at the end of the night probably annoyed with somebody, probably not happy with something that went on. But that's Martinsville, baby. You've got to be ready for that. And if you come into the race and you just expect to walk out at the other end happy with everyone on the field, I think you've come in with the wrong approach. I think that if you come in with the approach that I'm going to be a little bit cautious here, I'm going to look after my car, I'm going to look after the people around me, you end yourself up in Keenan Massey's position. Guy didn't drive a shall we say top draw race. He didn't drive a bottom draw race. He just drove the most consistent race all night, and there's a reason that he picked up and win here tonight. He stayed out of everything. Great job.
Obviously, we don't really know if there was any fallout at Bristol Dirt. We do know what took place here tonight. So a thing that I've got to wonder here is, does race control step in this week, looking at the fact that we've got another short track coming up at Richmond, another opportunity for these rivalries to continue, for maybe drivers that feel they have a little bit of unfinished business to be able to finish it there. Do we see race control step in this week, heading into Richmond next week to try and calm the storm, if you will.
About the only driver that potentially gets... Talia was aggressive, but I don't think he ever did anything wrong. Like, I think he was, in every case, he was there, and then a car tried to come down on him, and it's just one of those cases where he's got the run, and he's tried to... And it's a racing incident. In the case of Braxton going 3 wide underneath Bushi, he did fine. Bushi, maybe not so. That one's a racing incident. Bushi took a little bit too much out of it. And then the final one where Bushi just sends it down the inside. The problem is the only way that Bushi and his team are going to look at it is if in that instance, as a driver, if you get a penalty and your opponent doesn't, you're going to feel slighted. Understandably so. But I think what he's going to look back at is that incident, the first incident going 3 wide. I think that he's the one that's made the mistake there, and that's fair enough. You make those mistakes. That sort of happens. You go 3 wide, then just go, oh, well, why are we 3 wide? No, look, I think there's an opportunity to go 3 wide, and the opportunity was there to drive it cleanly. Bushi's got a case to answer, I think, with the stewards. I think the best possible thing that they can do is potentially just give a warning out and say, hey, look, we're watching your conduct. We are watching you very, very closely. Don't do anything at Richmond, or we will have to step in and our hands will be tied at that point. I think that's probably the safest approach here, because it says to both drivers, things crossed a line tonight. Let's not cross that line again.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you're exactly right. I mean, we've seen some unbelievable racing at a lot of the 1.5 miles here. Atlanta had a great long green flag race. Homestead had a good long green flag race. So, obviously we know that these drivers are capable of it. And if they can just keep the tempers in check, I think they can do that again at Richmond, no doubt about it. I've found out that there has been some word from race control that there might be some penalties that'll be handed out after the events here tonight. But again, I'm kind of with you. The events here tonight, there was a little bit of everything, with drivers struggling with the track, struggling with each other. I think that, based off, as we said, we don't really know what happened after Bristol Dirt, but if there were some rivalries after Bristol Dirt that carried over maybe into tonight, and then we've got some new rivalries heading into Richmond, then maybe race control does have to step in with some penalties. But I'm kind of with you. Give the warning out there, and then if we end up on the third leg of this triple short track stop, have some issues at Richmond, then definitely race control would have to step in, because the warning has already been issued. But here tonight...
It's one of those things as well. Like, as race control, you don't want to have to hand out the penalties. But what happened tonight is you can go, yeah, this deserves a penalty. Yeah, this doesn't deserve a penalty. Both approaches are correct. Like, the racing is so clear. Yeah, it's Martinsville. We already discussed that. But you also want to put in front of the drivers. This'll tell all you need to know about the people within this league. If you put up in front of all the drivers that were involved in this sort of stuff tonight, you say, hey, we need to improve. And they walk away and they go, yeah, I need to improve. They improve, no problem. You've got a great league on your hands. And I don't want to see penalties handed out. I think penalties are deserved. I also think they aren't deserved. So I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, you need to give this guy a penalty, because I don't think you do. I think that both approaches can be successful. It's one of those approaches whereby, as an admin and my family, I run motocross racing with my family, so we've been in those sorts of situations. It depends person to person whether or not you take that approach, and if they're a new person to the league. If they're a new person to, say, a club like this, and they walk in and they're aggressive straight out of the box, you hand out a penalty, because you want to take that firm hand and say, hey, no, sit, bad, right? But they've been around this league and they've raced everyone clean, and Cybery, Bushi, that whole team, they've raced people clean. So I think it got a little bit out of hand tonight. I think the based on all of that information, the correct approach is say, hey, we will watch. This is your first and final warning. After penalties is probably the correct way, but if they do hand out a penalty, it's also fine. It's them, it's the league owners and such, and league admins just going, right, this crossed the line. This is where we want to set the line in the hand, and this sets a precedent for everybody else. Whereas if they get a warning, it's a precedent for a warning as well.
And as a league admin myself, if I'm in this kind of a position, the last thing I want to do is tell drivers, don't go out there and give it your all. Don't go out there and try and win this race. The thing that really, for me, that I'm looking at here is, if these rivalries carry over, almost invariably we end up having where two drivers will make contact, one trying to pay back the other, and there's always innocent victims. Those are the drivers that you want to be on the lookout for. You want to have their well-being, because they're out there just trying to do their own thing. The last thing you want is for them to get caught up in somebody else's mess. That's the thing you want to avoid.
Yep, I wholeheartedly agree.
Well,
I think
dust is settled
we crossed
here,
everything
Mark.
off.
Yes, we have indeed. So 325 laps are in the books here tonight. Keenan Massey is your winner, and hopefully everything just kind of stays localized here tonight at Martinsville and does not carry over into Richmond next week. Still a long ways to go in the season. Still a lot of opportunity for drivers to be able to win and point their way into the playoffs, but Keenan Massey, becoming the 6th different winner on the season, may have just taken another playoff point or a playoff position away from a driver potentially trying to point their way in. We're going to just have to wait and see how the rest of the season unfolds. But Scott, crazy one here tonight under the lights. Felt kind of a little bit like a boxing ring than a short track, but it was a great one nonetheless and came out with a really good finish at the end.
Yeah, entertaining from go to woe. So look, perfect. You expect things to potentially go down the way that they did when you come to Martinsville. It went down that way, but boy, wasn't it an exciting journey right across the race, because there was stories unvolving at every single turn across 325 laps. We spent 170 laps on a pacing tonight. Guess what? That is probably the most exciting pacing periods I've seen in my time on iRacing. I am licking my lips. I'm absolutely keen to just dive deep into the blockbuster I'm expecting from Richmond.
170 laps under pacing, 3 absolutely butchered karaoke songs, and the occasional pearls of wisdom from our own Matthew Rodriguez. Who can top that on a Sunday night here at Martinsville? But man, thank you, Scott, for joining me in the booth here tonight. Really appreciate you sticking it out here with me. It was a long one, but a lot of fun.
Yep, 100%. Like I said, I'm back. Give me Richmond. Bring on Richmond, baby.
Thanks to everyone for tuning in here tonight as well. Hope you guys enjoyed our coverage from Martinsville, and we hope that you guys will tune in to our next broadcast here for Clutch Drop. Also, be sure to tune in to our next broadcast coming up Tuesday night. The G-Force Vintage 87 Clothing Cup Series are going to be taking to Phoenix out in the desert as they continue on their season. They're actually very close to the midway portion of their season, and the racing has been really good over there. So that's going to kick off our week here on Flatout Racing Network. But for Scott Rankin, Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Seth Cole. Thanks for tuning in here tonight for the Clutch Drop Racing Series Season 2 at Martinsville Speedway, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank